Welcome to ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
And welcome to a beautiful night in San Antonio, Texas, where a fiesta is never far away. Penn State hopes to celebrate a milestone tonight for Joe Paterno, his 500th game as head coach, his 34th bowl game. But to win it, the Lions will have to conquer a virtual home crowd for Texas A&M. It's a sea of maroon inside the Alamo Dome. It's been a tough season for these folks. They'd like to write a sweet ending. The Valero Alamo Bowl, Big Ten versus Big 12. The Nittany Lions and the Aggies coming up right now. It's a city rich with history, San Antonio, and they love their college football. And the Valero Alamo Bowl is sold out inside the Alamo Dome tonight. Collision of living legend Joe Paterno and his Nittany Lions out of the Big Ten against Texas A&M out of the Big 12. The Lions faithful have made the trip and enjoyed themselves this week, but they are outnumbered by an Aggie bunch that has circled the wagons after a tough season. And welcome inside the Dome, Chris Fowler, Doug Flutie, and Craig James. We look for themes during Bowl Week, guys, and one theme we think has to be the Big Ten. Off a very disappointing, embarrassing season a year ago, they had 8 bids this year. They're 1-1. But guys, after Penn State, all the other Big Ten teams and bowls are underdogs. The Lions carrying the flag tonight, and it's big for the conference.
Well, when you look at the Big Ten, where they really struggled is against teams like USC last year, Florida, Texas, Texas Tech. Open offenses, teams that put pressure on defenses, make you play in space. The Aggies will do that tonight. So the Big Ten, when they get in these games outside their own conference, they have to learn to play better with speed and in space.
Another theme, we've seen a lack of upsets after the crazy regular season, Doug. In the first 13 bowl games, only 2 upsets.
It was a wild start to the season. Appalachian State taking on Michigan, and it just went throughout the entire year. And all of a sudden in the bowls, there's been 2 upsets, but they've been a lot of close games.
Right.
8 games decided by 7 points or less. Blocked field goals at the end of the ball games. Fumble return for touchdowns. Last-minute touchdowns. Last-second field goals. It's been wild. It's been fun.
We've seen some wild stuff. We could see some wild stuff tonight because the Aggies feel like they don't have a whole lot to lose. Now, for Joe Paterno, he's very disappointed about the 8-4 record here. They're a couple of plays away, Craig, from being 11-1. They didn't get it done. They lost to Michigan State in the finale, or else they'd be in the Outback Bowl.
And you know what? This team loves Joe Paterno, and so they're really out tonight knowing it's this 500th game that he's coaching in, and so they want to win. They also wish they had a chance to play at another bowl game, but if they are here, they've worked hard, they're prepared, they want to end the season on a positive note. They're a very physical football team, and they feel like they can come in here and dominate the tempo and control this game.
Now for A&M, as you know, Dennis Franchione forced that at the end of his 5th year. After that big win against Texas, an emotional letdown as the team learned that news. Mike Sherman is not here. He's still with the Houston Texans for one more game, so Gary Donnell is the interim coach. This is a tight bunch, though, for A&M. You get the feeling they're motivated today.
Absolutely motivated. It was a bittersweet win. They won the game against Texas, fantastic. They lose their head coach, the guy that recruited them, the guy that brought this group together. These guys are tight, they're loyal, and they're led by Stephen McGee. Stephen McGee is the guy that they rally behind, and he says, we are here to win.
Been kind of a feisty build-up to this game down here. We'll detail that as the game progresses. Joe Paterno's been the focus of some of that. He always seems to be the focus, Aaron, even though he hates being the center of attention, doesn't he?
Feisty is a great word when you describe what he's been saying in media all week when they ask him about his 500th game. He's like, I don't care if it's my 500th or my 50th. Don't make a big deal around it. And one of the reasons why he may feel that way, interesting story he told us, back in 1959, Joe Paterno was an assistant coach for the Nittany Lions. They were taking on Alabama and Bear Bryant in the Liberty Bowl. Joe Pa told us there was so much focus about what a legend Bear Bryant was that it just got to be too much. And Paterno didn't want that circus here in San Antonio, Chris. But interesting enough, when people will ask him, hey, you're 81, can you still do it? He says, if I couldn't, I wouldn't be here.
Oh, the ageless wonder. Joe Papa, can he get the win in his 500th game as head coach? Lions favored in a virtual road game. We'll come back to San Antonio. Valero Alamo Bowl next.
ESPN College Football, the Valero Alamo Bowl, is brought to you by Valero, the all-American gasoline all across America.
Penn State! I've only missed 2 games in my whole life.
Tradition. Longevity. History. With San Antonio as a backdrop, we ask you to remember the Alamo.
Breeze lobs it for the end zone. Got him there. Touchdown, Isaac Joe. Wilkie. Good. And get gone. Touchdown, Eric Crouch. Bollinger deep over the middle. Has a time. It's caught by Williams. Good pass. Plenty of distance. And it's over.
The play hasn't been whistled dead yet. Hang on a second here. This play is still alive as Edgar goes down the field for Michigan. And he's finally gone at the 15-yard line. The game is over. Nebraska wins.
Touchdown. As 2007 nears its roller coaster end, will history pay homage to the Nittany Lions of Penn State and their ageless wonder, Joe Pa? Or will the Texas A&M faithful witness a sweet ending to a bitter chapter in Aggie land? The punctuation to follow. The Valero Alamo Bowl. The Aggies and the Nittany Lions. Now. This is the 13th season. Big Ten versus Big 12 in the Alamo Bowl. Big Ten has a 7-5 edge, but the Big 12 has won the last 2 and 3 of the last 4. There is Joe Paterno, age 81, trotting to the sidelines. We are going to show you what one of the yell leaders for the Aggies said on Thursday night that stirred up so much controversy and got him sent home in tears.
Texas Aggie taking over San Antonio. Fighting Texas Aggie, remember the Alamo. Fighting Texas Aggie, Joe Paterno's on his deathbed and someone needs to find him a casket. Give it up, Penn State.
That was a pep rally that featured both A&M and Penn State fans. Lots of boos, and the young man immediately disciplined, sent home. Apologies for Paterno and for the Penn State program from their counterparts at Texas A&M. That's not the true Aggie spirit at all.
Well, I think, the young man obviously got carried away with where he was, forgot where he was. He wasn't at just an A&M function, and I'm sure he regrets it and will regret it the rest of his life.
Joe Pa did a good job, though, playing it off, not making a big deal out of it and moving on.
Yep.
Yeah, he used the old sticks and stones can break my bones line, and he also said, hey, who knows, maybe it's accurate. There's Gary Darnell, the interim coach for tonight. Mike Sherman taking over next season. He's got one more game of his responsibilities at the Houston Texans to take care of. Darnell has been the defensive coordinator under Franchione. Penn State won the toss and deferred. The Aggies will get the football to begin. You figure this is about 75 to 80% A&M fans. 2 hours and 45 minutes from their campus. Kevin Kelly boots it to Pierre Brown. And Brown hit across the 20. So Stephen McGee comes off a 4-touchdown pass performance against Texas, a career highlight, his second straight win against the Longhorns. But as a very tough runner, he'll lead this A&M offense out tonight, which could have a little bit of a different look.
Well, you know what? This is an offense and a coaching staff. What do they have to lose? So expect to see some weird little things going on out there. A lot of loosey-goosey calling and the players having fun.
They've been trying to keep it fun for these players, not a premium on fun for the Aggies this season, but what's been a tough period of time since that Texas game, fun has been emphasized. Mike Goodson in motion, Jaworski lane to the left of McGee. Throwing first down, and Goodson a short catch, and here's our Yellowbrook lineup as brought to us by Nick Lamantia, the 12th man.
Starting it off, we got Cody Wallace, the hardest hitting lineman as well as center in the nation. Then we got Stephen McGee, dual threat quarterback. He's going to run it on you, he's going to pass it on you. He's going to hit Kerry Franks down the middle, open on a post. He's the fastest guy we got on the team. Kerry Franks can fly. Then, of course, in the backfield, we got thunder and lightning. Jaworski Lane gives a whole new definition of the meaning of train. He's going to run you over. And to complement that, we got Mike Goodson in the backfield, who's going to make a play, shake you, and then take it to the house.
Thank you, Nick. Empty backfield on second down. McGee fires and has a man open, but underthrows Brown. Pierre Brown was wide open on the sideline.
Yeah, the old safety forgot to come over and help on that, blitzing with Connor from the bottom, and it's just one of those plays where you got to connect on it early on.
Let's meet the Lions defense after this next play with Tony Pittman, one of the 22 father-son combinations that Joe Paterno has coached at Penn State. Think about that. 22 father-son combinations as head coach.
Well, we're waiting on the grandson to come along, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's still that time.
3rd and 6 for the Aggies. Lions rush 4, complete to Bennett underneath, and the tight end, the leading receiver for the Aggies, short of the first down. Dan Connor and Sean Lee, the two excellent linebackers for State, combining on the stop. It'll be a punting situation.
This Penn State defense, Dan Connor, an All-American in everybody's books, an outstanding player. Doug, they're going to play with a lot of energy tonight, even though it is kind of a road game for them.
You know, they do have a little problem with the defensive line. They're a little lean at the D-line. The linebackers are their strong suit, and they rely on those guys to stop the run. They do a great job stopping the run.
Justin Brantley in punt formation. Always got to keep an eye out for the fakes tonight. Said the Aggies may try some things. A booming punt from Brantley forces Anthony Serrato back to the 10, and he fumbles it. Serrato hit quickly as he's able to get back to the 13 and avoid disaster there. A 60-yard punt. Mark Dodge, the 27-year-old almost linebacker, the Aggies down on the coverage.
That's that deal with Flutie, though. You got a hard time with 27-year-old Clinton.
I do. I don't know. I love Mark. We met him. He's a great guy. I love him to death. But there's something wrong about that, don't you think?
We've tried to pull him.
Nothing wrong with it.
We'll get into it later.
Penn State's offense led out by Anthony Morelli, back-to-back 2,000-yard passing seasons. His final game as a Nittany Lion, the senior who's endured some criticism in his career from the faithful. Rodney Kinlaw is the lone setback. And they fake it, a first down throw. Morelli fires, complete. Deon Butler on the sideline out near the 30-yard line. And now we've got the Penn State offense with Charlie Pittman.
Thanks, Chris. We're going to start with the Penn State talented offensive line who will provide adequate protection for quarterback Anthony Morelli so he can get the ball to his outstanding receiving corps led by Derek Williams, Jordan Norwood, and Deon Butler. And hopefully we can find some running room for Rodney Kinlaw.
Thank you, Charlie. Part of those excellent Paterno teams in the late 60s. This is Kinlaw. Picks his way up the middle. And Kinlaw first down across the 40, so a good start for this Penn State offense, 13 yards. And Lamantia back to set the Aggies defense.
I've worn 12 and 55, playing linebacker here, there, and in a couple of those years. Starting it off, I know a little about defense, so therefore I'm going to tell you about Red Bryant. Defensive tackle, wreck and shop on the offensive line. Then we got the two oldest linebackers in NCAA, I think are older than Joe Pa himself, Mark Dodge and Misi Tupe. Then in the back, the most enthusiastic corner you ever meet, Marquise Carpenter, otherwise known as K. He gets us wired up, he gets us wired, and he's going to make a play on whoever he's going against in the game.
Defense on its heels in the first couple of plays. And handoff up the middle. This is Derek Williams. We'll see a lot from number 2. The multi-threat for the Nittany Lions could take some direct snaps, be involved in different ways. Got to get him his touches.
Mr. Versatility there. He likes getting in the backfield, catching passes. Talked to him before the game. He says, I want to run a post. I want to just run by people and go catch a deep ball.
Well, he's a real talented player. And, you know, if you can get him the touch of the football 10, 12 times in the game, more than likely a big play's coming from it.
Penn State just getting big chunks of yardage with each play so far.
Big hogs up front are all over the Aggies defensive line.
This is Kinlaw behind the fullback Dan Lawler on 2nd and 2. And Kinlaw leans for a first down into A&M territory. You see Tupe, the 26-year-old linebacker, next to the 27-year-old on Monday, Mark Dodge.
In the intros there, you know, and you're talking, I've got a little issue with some of that, but it's kind of funny to hear them even talk about the age of the linebackers. But it does bring maturity to your team, a leadership to your team. And Mark Dodge, you want no one else. I mean, leading your team in the foxhole with you, you got Mark Dodge.
4 years in the Army, then a junior college in California. And now wrapping up his A&M career and recently engaged. On first down, Morelli flips it far side. Williams has room and has almost 10. And everything with the combination of Galen Hall and Jay Paterno calling so far working.
And you know what? The Aggies secondary has to play physical. They've got to come up and make plays. When Morelli throws on time, little screen to the outside, the secondary's not there to come up and be aggressive.
When they, this is a little hitch screen, so it happens quickly, not a big deal with protection. But when they protect for Morelli, and he has an opportunity to set his feet and throw the ball, he throws the ball as well as anyone, and they've got a very good passing attack when they protect the passer.
Hall in the middle and Jay Paterno, Joe's son, of course, on the right, and they share play calling responsibilities. Lions averaging almost 10 yards a play, and they'll throw it on second short, looking for Williams, and overthrown. Marquise Carpenter was on the coverage.
Well, we've had a good time down in San Antonio. Nice little start for our bowl season here.
Yeah?
A lot of hospitality.
Are you going somewhere with this?
A lot of Mexican food. No, just looking around at the crowd. You know, there are a lot of Penn State fans here, more than you would think.
Well, Chris and I took a little trip around the Alamo, got a little history lessons from a local.
You should.
Loved it.
A little culture.
Absolutely. Get down here in Texas.
Yeah, some of us took to heart our location down here, tried to learn something.
Hey, I've been there so many times, I feel like I'm a part of it. I'm looking for the line in the sand.
This is a fullback on third and short, and Lawler is stopped. I believe he's going to be just short of a first down, and now a decision at the 37.5-yard line of A&M.
How about Joe Pod, 81, running out on the field? He's not just a light little jog and trying to look like he's running. He's running across the field. When he came out, comes over to the sideline, he's still got that spunk. We saw it in the meetings all week. We hear it from him all the time, and it's amazing.
You know what? He just doesn't like the focus being on him, does he?
No, he doesn't. But you know what? He is the focus. At the banquet, the luncheon. Everybody, you're drawn to Joe Paterno.
Absolutely.
And he means so much to the game.
Let's see if Paterno elects to go for this on fourth down. We'll see how much the Lions will need. It's going to be about football and a half. And he says, go for it.
Go.
Aaron?
Craig mentioned the luncheon, Chris, and Joe Pod not wanting any focus on him. It was funny because Gary Darnell told everyone, hey, Penn State, you're a great football team, but I got to give all the credit to Joe Paterno and what he's done for that university. Basically called him a mentor, Chris.
On fourth down, Morelli, a little hesitation on the sneak. The spot will be critical. And some shoving after the whistle. Morelli did not fire out of the starting blocks, did he, Doug?
You're right. It was the hesitation coming away from center, and part of that is maybe you're in a rush to move, and then the ball, you have to get the ball first and create a little separation from yourself in the center before you go forward. If you're just going in, you're just riding the back and standing up straight, and it doesn't happen. He did not move forward.
You know what's real apparent? The coaches tried to deflect all of the feistiness that was going on before. This isn't your traditional bowl game where you got guys over there shaking each other. Hey, good to have you down here. There's some passion between these two teams on the field tonight.
I mean, the night we came in, all we heard were the stories of walking down the street, one team on one side of the street, the other on the other, yelling back and forth.
Kept them across the river from each other.
And it looks like Mahomes just picked up the first down.
Wow. I'd like to see a replay on that.
You think you could tell from the replay?
I think it's a function of when the whistle blows. You know, really, when is his forward progress?
He's got to get to the 37.
You know, when is it? The ball hasn't crossed there. Ball hadn't crossed there. Ball hasn't moved. Very favorable. Look at the official coming in. There's no way that football made it that far.
How much fun is a quarterback see when they're hitting you upside the head?
It's the other guys that are twisting your ankles and pulling fingers off the ball and grabbing you.
This is Williams. Motions behind Morelli. They fake it to him. Morelli takes a shot downfield. Has Norwood in the end zone, incomplete. Jordan Norwood was open briefly. Marquise Carpenter recovered.
Now, this is one of those
right there.
Yeah, but you know what? When you start looking at films and you go back and you study here, Chris Bell, 19, was running by himself in the middle of the field. You know, and you'll see Doug here in the middle of the field. Morelli, there's 19. Bell, hit
there
him.
He is.
Take
Give
it.
him the ball. Morelli came out looking deep. It wasn't open. He waited. He waited. He said, I'm going to make this throw and wait for Norwood. And he laid it out there and tried to get the big play. Instead, take what they give you.
Kinlaw on 2nd and 10. This little stutter step move picks up about 7.
That dude's got some shaking power. When a guy like that, a running back, shakes you, and then he gets into the strike zone before the defender's able to react, that's when you have power. You know, you don't have to be big. You just have to be able. Watch his hips here.
Well, you got Chris Bell coming from the outside with a big crack block. Chris Bell, big, tall, lanky receiver, a lot of talent to him. All these receivers love to block for their backs.
Kinlaw's a fifth-year senior, guys, who ran for 1,200 yards. Very quietly, an excellent senior season. 10th highest rushing total in Penn State history. 3rd and 3. Empty backfield. Incomplete. It was in the hands of Terrell Golden, the senior. And now it's 4th and 3. And they'll punt.
Look at that guy. You know what? There's no question about his passion for coaching still and that feistiness.
Check it, Kevin Kelly. They'll try a field goal. So the punter come on, boom, but he's the holder. So it will be a field goal attempt. 47 yards for Kelly. He's not very accurate beyond 40 yards. Just 2 of 7. Left footer. Hooked it. So Paterno's team gains 56 yards on their opening possession, converting a 4th and short, but come up empty. Kelly struggles. Nuts. Aggies get the ball when we come back to San Antonio.
We are gonna need some help. Right out there. When you say we are Penn State, you're proud of it. Everything positive. Hey, go, go, go. Never mind the other guy. And we'll go. Right? Let's have a great night Saturday night.
That's old school never.
Never mind the other guy. It's go, go, go.
You know what?
Positive. He wants you to be positive.
Sometimes he can just get out there and he can go, rah, 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 and all of a sudden everybody go, yeah. Not hear a word he said.
Awesome. He has a pep rally every Friday before the home games at Rec Hall. He gets pretty riled up. That was in front of Aggie fans as well. And he didn't hear that tasteless comment, able to yell at it before he went on. Let's go back and take a look at that missed field goal. Our spotter, Mike Black, an ex-kicker, says this is a problem, Doug. You were an ex-holder.
Yeah, the laces are out to the right a little bit, and the ball is going to hook to the laces. And with a lefty, they hook the ball anyway. There's a little more of a natural hook to the ball with a left-footed kicker, and it just pulls the ball to the right. That's why you want the laces straight out.
And you know what? His body of the kicker was already hooking. He was pulling. His body wasn't where it was supposed to be on the plan.
So are you making an apology for the kicker? You're blaming it on the hold there?
Yeah, I'm a holder. I was a holder for, I don't know, ever. 25, 30 years.
2nd and 11 for the Aggies. It's big Jaworski Lane up the middle. 295 pounds. Forget what the program says. Let's meet the Penn State defense.
Starting with the big guys up front, we have Josh Gaines and Maurice Evans providing pressure from the outside, with Ollie Ogbu anchoring the middle of the line. And Dan Connor in the middle, the great one, Penn State's all-time leading tackler and Bednarik Award winner. And finally to the secondary, the last line of defense, where we have lockdown corner Justin King, and in the middle, free safety Tony Davis, and hero Anthony Serrano.
Heard from the father earlier. There's the son. 3rd and 6. McGee, an excellent runner. First down and more. 18 yards.
Stephen McGee is a fast, talented football player. He can run the ball extremely well. It's been his forte this year. And when Penn State's defense comes from the right side, they lose containment, Doug. On the right side, you're going to see the contained corner coming hard from the outside, and you can't lose containment against McGee.
They bring a 5-man rush, which is, well, actually one guy peels off, but it is a zone blitz type of thing, and McGee is their leading rusher. He's athletic. He's going to make plays with his legs.
Ran for 858 this season, leading rusher in terms of carries and yards. carried the ball 35 times in a big win at Nebraska. This time he'll throw it down the middle of Martellus Bennett, the tight end, inside the 25. 6'7" specimen of a tight end. Leaf, Texas.
He's out of A-Leaf, Texas. You know what? Don't let him off the line of scrimmage right side free. You've got to get your hands on Bennett, not let him free release.
You see the linebackers step up off the play action. They step forward, bang, he hits up the seam. That's what they have to do with these good, talented linebackers. Make them play run first.
Through the years, Penn State's defenses have had trouble with tight ends. Bennett, no mystery though, he's the top receiver on this team. First down to the 25. McGee to Lane. 295 pounds on the edge, hammering inside the 15.
You got it.
Exactly.
And you know that corner's thinking, wait a minute, this isn't right. Give him the ball inside. That's not fair to have 290 coming around the corner.
You want to be a 185-pound corner coming up to make a stop on this guy?
He's got some kicks, though, for a guy that big.
Great feet. Reminds you a lot of a bigger Jerome Bettis.
16 rushing touchdowns this season. Got 44 career touchdowns. Now shares that record with Darren Lewis, the school record. One more, and he has it all his own. On 2nd and 1, Lane out. And it's Goodson behind Chris Alexander, the fullback. They give it to Alexander. And he leans forward for a first down. Maurice Evans, the defensive end on the stop. Good-looking drive from the Aggies now.
You know, they can play power football with you with Jaworski back there. Goodson's more of a versatile type of guy, and you can spread it out and throw the ball to him. They go a lot of empty. They give it to you. They give everything to you defensively to worry about.
Well, I think you really have to scout yourself in the Aggies with Lane back there. You would think inside power game. All of a sudden he hits you on the outside. Then they go small, and you think Goodson power or speed, and they come inside.
Empty backfield on first down. It's Lane in motion. And he's got it. That's what we're used to seeing Jaworski Lane work over a defense up the middle. And this Penn State defensive line, especially the tackle position, very thin, very short-handed because of injuries and some suspensions to Chris Baker, left home. Jared Odrick and Jerome Hayes out injured in November, so it's very thin up front. It's a major concern for Tom Bradley.
Inside in a dome stadium, I always found it, Doug, it's much harder to play. Physically, you sweat more. It gets hot.
The big guys get tired in a dome stadium. There's no doubt about it. They're thin on the defensive line, and a guy like Jaworski can wear them down as the game goes.
You saw shots of Hayes and Odrick helpless to do anything about this situation right now. Alexander hammers first and goal down inside the 1. So the fullback, who rarely carries the ball in this offense, he's mainly a blocker.
Yeah, you want to watch the blocking, but look at the linebackers of Penn State getting swallowed up. Dan Connor cut off. Sean Lee, 45, couldn't get there.
Connor, the Bednarik Trophy winner. There's Lee, the junior, and will take over the leadership role next year. Goodson behind Alexander, first and goal. It's Goodson, untouched. Mike Goodson rarely scores a touchdown. That's only his 3rd this season. That's Jaworski Lane's department, but the option on the goal line effective, and he waltzed in. Richie Bean there for the conversion. 9-play, 70-yard drive. Capped off by a 1-yard run from Mike Goodson. And the Aggies jump on top 7-0.
ESPN College Football, the Valero Alamo Bowl, is brought to you by Valero, the all-American gasoline all across America. And Pontiac. Vote now for the Pontiac game-changing performance of the year at ESPN.com. Keyword Pontiac.
One of the great features of this bowl game is the fans get to enjoy downtown. Everything's very concentrated. The players can just walk out of the hotel and see the sights of the Riverwalk. Some places to eat. Grab a beverage.
Spent a little time down there.
Yep.
Pony fell into the canal, river, whatever you want to call it.
Somebody's got to go swimming every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 9 plays, 8 of them are runs. The one 24-yard pass to Bennett. That was familiar story for the Aggies, who are the 12th-ranked passing team in the conference, but a very good running team. And Paterno's offense, productive in its first possession, go back to work here.
They call it the river walk, but I really think it's a canal walk.
It's a river. It's a river that goes through the city that's been turned into a little bit of a festival. Hey, that's Gary Darnell. We talk Joe Paterno a lot, but Gary Darnell and this coaching staff has done an outstanding job of keeping the focus of this football team during this transition time. Darnell, a great guy, doing a heck of a job.
I think Fran's at home smiling a little bit about the way this team's playing too right now.
A.J. Wallace at the goal line. Good coverage from the Aggies, who stop Wallace, and the ball comes loose. A&M says they have it. Coming out of there was number 15, Kenny Brown, and now this Conference USA crew will huddle. And Wallace coughed it up before he was down. Aggie ball.
Obviously, a critical call on the field by the officials, because now if this goes to replay, having to have conclusive evidence to overturn the call on the field will be important.
Lions have struggled losing fumbles this year. Wallace is a fine return man. Brought one back for a touchdown against Ohio State. Looked like the ball came out before his knee.
Looked like it came out.
They'll review it, of course. But again, the call on the field, it's tough to overturn it. You have to have conclusive evidence. We'll take a break. We'll come back. If the call stands, Aggies will have the ball at the Penn State 16, up 7. The call will stand. Paterno's team already in a hole will be backed up at the 16-yard line.
The play on the field was confirmed. Fumble recovered by Texas A&M. First down.
It was Matt Featherston, number 46, who helped force it from Wallace.
Doug, you made a good point here. You say know when your journey's over, right? But you'll see the football right before the body and the legs are down on the inside, right in there.
Just came loose. You're wrapped up. Just start protecting the ball and get down to the ground.
Aggies trying to add to their lead. Goodson explodes into the end zone. Two touchdowns for Mike Goodson in 12 seconds. And the Alamo Dome is rocking. The Aggies have endured a tough season. Seen their coach forced out. Disappointing season by every respect. But you know what? The win over Texas, and if they can keep this going tonight, it'll be a pretty sweet end.
Yeah, the Aggies have a crazy formation on that touchdown. We'll show you when we come back. But it's the Aggies being creative and being loose in the way they present things.
This game being broadcast on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro. 14-0 for the Aggies. We expected some wrinkles, Craig, and we've gotten them early.
Well, right here you have like what looks like an unbalanced look, but most of the time you'll have a tackle out here. Instead, you only have the guard. Everybody's unbalanced over to the left side. Penn State's defensive line and the linebackers were uncertain as to where they were going. You have leverage. Linebacker Sean Lee, 45, can't get up in the hole. It's uncertainty that's created doubt in that defensive line, and it's a touchdown.
It's coming out playing loose, relaxed, throw some formations at him. Goodson, great quickness.
It's Wes Kenny, the offensive coordinator, a San Antonio native. This is Derek Williams, who's inserted a kickoff return now. He takes a hard hit. Aggies continue to cover well. We check in with Reese Davis, a 30 at 30 update for that other football game going on tonight.
And we'll get to that momentarily. Rick Neuheisel, the new head coach at UCLA, and the Bruins in their search to replace Carl Durrell. And as for the game that Chris referenced, the Patriots and the Giants, Patriots trying to go 16-0. Giants took the opening kickoff, drove down, got a touchdown pass from Eli Manning to Brandon Jacobs. New England has answered with a field goal. Still in the first quarter, 7-3 Giants. Sports Center after the game with plenty of coverage. Stay current, ESPN News.
There is, thank you. So Penn State and Morelli in a 14-0 hole. Actually, this is Gerald Clark into the ball game at quarterback in the backup. Much better runner than Morelli, an effective gain on first down. So the Lions answer with a wrinkle here.
Put your mobile quarterback in, run a little of that read, take off and run. Nice gain, good change-up offensively. Penn State needs to answer the call now.
You remember the first drive of this ball game, Penn State's offensive line was in sync, and they were pounding the football, moving it down the field.
Clark Jr. figures to have a head start in the starting quarterback job next season when Morelli is gone. Hasn't really played any meaningful snaps this season. Morelli is back in there, and it's Kinlaw. Kinlaw first down to the 30. Capital One Bowl Week featuring over 20 bowl games in 12 days on the ESPN family of networks. Sunday night, Alabama against Colorado, the Petro-Sun Independence Bowl. SEC versus Big 12. 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN Sunday night. Pair of 6-6 teams. Buffalo certainly happy to be there off the win over Nebraska to close the season. Underdogs against the Crimson Tide.
You can cheer. Go ahead. You're a Buff.
Cheer the promo? I might be looking in tomorrow night. Morelli flips it. It's complete to Terrell Golden, but a loss. Elton Dixon there.
We mentioned that secondary had to play physical because Penn State's, they got a great running game and they're good on the corners with the screens and the quick throws. You've got to play. They have to play with precision on their tackling.
Penn State is a very balanced offense, but they do get a little more out of the pass game.
Now, to be kind, the Aggies' speed and safety is average. That's not the strength of this defense. Those guys, Dixon and Devin Gregg, so they need anticipation. Agreed. Fake the throw and give it to Kinlaw. And Remy Kinlaw picks his way up the middle at near midfield. There's the burst from the senior again.
Wait a minute. Did you see that field work? Wait.
Did he not go from 0 to 60 like that?
I thought he was just a guy.
He's a guy who's got 1,200 yards this year.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we were told. That the playmakers on this team were supposedly the wideouts and the guys that are going to catch the ball in the passing game. The backs are okay.
Okay, so that just made those linebackers adjust their their angles to the ball carrier.
Great quickness. Explosion.
Derek Williams inside. Caught up in traffic, able to gain a couple before Kellen Hurd is there on the stop. We'll see creative uses of number 2. Has been a little bit frustrated this season. Hasn't gotten the number of touches. He's a leading receiver with 50 catches. He's run the ball 13 times, but it's never enough for the Penn State fans. They want to see the Deuce involved a lot more.
Especially his mother. His mom wants to know why he's not getting more touches as well.
Darryl Clark, the backup quarterback in the shotgun now on 2nd and 8. Clark still has it. And pitches, but nothing doing. Williams. No gain as Marquise Carpenter, the corner, sniffed it out.
Yeah, he better get back with his teammates or throw the flag on him. You know what? That's not what is supposed to happen here in this game. He got very lucky. They didn't throw the flag on him.
Yeah, a little extra there, but he did do a great job of coming up. He was a corner coming up on the pitch. Made a great tackle in the open field. I'll tell you what, they're finding ways, though, Penn State is, to get the ball in Derek Williams' hands. They moved him around. They're pitching it to him out of the backfield there. The bubble screen, things of that nature, trying to get him the ball.
Final 35 seconds of the first quarter. It's 3rd and 7. And a flag Pass overthrown and was looking for Wallace, the tight end. Cyril Obazor, the leading sacker for the Aggies, but just 3.5 is there pressuring Morelli. Jordan Norwood, if you could read number 24, the illegal shift, they'll decline that, and it's 4th down.
Norwood accidentally lined up off of the line of scrimmage, needed to move up, moved up as a guy was in motion, 2 guys in motion at the snap of the ball.
You know what happened there? Morelli, and we talked about this early, he's really a good quarterback when he's not getting hit. There's no sack here, but this kind of hit, Doug, you know it stays on the back of the quarterback's mind. Absolutely.
No, when he can stand there flat-footed and throw the football, he throws it as well as anyone. You start pressuring, get in the quarterback's face, you keep feeling that pressure as the game goes on.
Jeremy Boone in punt formation. And he's hit after the punt. There's no flag, and that ball will land in the end zone. Boone gives a look at the official trying to sell the call, doesn't get it, and a touchback. So once again, the Lions march, gain some yards, but no points.
You know what, Aaron? They're watching the Aggie coaching staff and the passion they have down there with the way they're coaching them up. You have to really respect that. EA down there running around on the field.
You're right, though. This is a staff that is not going to be retained by Mike Sherman so far. Just one assistant maybe will be retained. And so these guys have been preparing their team and also making phone calls. And here's another tricky formation here. What do you call this? The
lone polecat. Lone polecat.
Lone or lonesome?
Lonesome polecat. And if you're on defense, you don't know if it's a polecat or a possum or a skunk, but it's something different.
Gary Franks
basically
short game.
They set up 2 hit screens on either side of the field. McGee picks a side, throws it out there where maybe the numbers are best. It's just tough to line up to those type of formations. You haven't practiced it. You haven't seen it. You just react and be a ball player.
We've already seen one touchdown with the confusion. And that play right there, while it didn't gain but 2 yards, it puts further down. It's put pressure on Tom Bradley, not Penn State, the defensive coordinator, to come up with a game plan for this open offense of the Aggies.
Welcome back to Valero Alamo Bowl, where Texas A&M leading Penn State 14-0. Craig James earlier asked the question, Nittany Lions, looks like there's a lot of uncertainty out there on the bench. Well, I got to tell you, that's a fantastic word to describe. I sat behind them on the sidelines. You had all sorts of players from left end, Josh Gaines saying, this is what I saw. Don't tell me what I saw. There seemed to be a lot of confusion with what was going on out there for Texas A&M's offense. Maurice Evans was trying to get everybody back on the same track. They had linebacker Sean Lee on headphones. There was a lot of question about what was out there. It'll be interesting to see how they regroup, Chris.
You got a wrinkle to face right now, the unbalanced line for the Aggies on 2nd down. Goodson stutter steps, gets the corner, and gets out across the 30. He'll have a 1st down.
What they're doing is spreading the defense, creating a small box, number of guys in the box, and then going overloaded, bringing a tackle to the opposite side and outnumbering on the right side.
And here's what it really does for you. It gives you leverage. It gives you angles on the defenders, because if they're not lined up right defensively, you're in trouble.
Check it. They're going to spot him inside the 30. It's 3rd and short. Goodson stepping out of bounds. Penn State's defense only gives up 88 yards rushing per game. Right now, the Aggies already have 69. On 3rd and short, Goodson hesitates, and he who hesitates is dropped for a big loss. Philip Taylor, the defensive tackle, makes the play, and that's the spark that Penn State defense may be needed.
But you know what? Sometimes a good thing can only be good a couple of times, right? Then you go back to your bread and you put the big 295 in there and let him go for the short yardage.
Well, this time they went with the tackle over. Defense had shifted the front over and made the play, got the numbers in the box to make the stop.
Lose 5 yards. Justin Brantley out to punt. Dangerous Derek Williams back deep. Aggies finally get their 11th guy on the field here in the punt protection. It's a low, kind of ugly kick by Brantley, but it's effective. Williams on the bounce. Had a little room and gets it back to the 35-yard line as we show you the Valero game track. And Mike Goodson already tying an Alamo Bowl record with 2 rushing touchdowns. Got him in the first quarter, the first on the option.
Yeah, the option from a traditional standpoint, but then they come back, and the first time that they show Penn State's defense this unbalanced overlook, they get a touchdown run from him.
Goodson matching his rushing touchdown total from the season. Just 2. Been an effective receiver in this offense, but tonight he's a runner. Lions at the 35, and it's Kinlaw. And he continues to show the muscle. The senior into Texas A&M territory. 16 more yards.
Nice job. Zone stretch is all that was, and Kinlaw had the speed to accelerate through. You have to run through as a ball carrier, arm tackles, and when you do that, you pick up the 10 and 12-yard gains.
That's what Penn State needs, though. Penn State needs to be able to run the ball so they can use their play-action pass. They are a balanced team. They're not going to be fancy on you, but they can run the ball. It's going to open everything else up for them.
Kinlaw 60 yards rushing already. He's got it again. Another solid game.
There you go.
You see this guy running, you do wonder, where has he been for 5 years? He hasn't been a real productive guy, obviously playing behind Austin Scott, who was removed from the team mid-season with his legal troubles, and Kinlaw stepping into the void there. But he's got talent.
Oh, he shows unbelievable quickness, and we saw the explosiveness of getting through the hole. I mean, he's a ball player, no doubt about it.
And that offensive line is swallowing up the Aggies' defensive line over there.
Goose Creek, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah, Goose Creek, absolutely.
Prior to Goose Creek has it again. Picks up about 7. And Waller, the fullback, with a nice block. As we check back with Reese for an update. Reese.
All right, Chris, Patriots have taken the lead against the Giants. Tom Brady to Randy Moss. Brady's 49th touchdown pass of the season. That ties the single-season record. And since Randy Moss caught it, he tied the single-season touchdown reception record with 22. Pats trying for perfection and up by a field goal on the Giants.
Got any big deal for the Patriots heading forward to the playoffs if they finish 16-0 or not?
Well, yes. Belichick said we're treating this thing like a playoff game, and they're going after it. They want to win this game. They want to win them all.
I believe that. Kinlaw tries to cut it back, but too much traffic in the middle. A short gain.
You know, what you see now is, they're going to try to run the zone stretch over to the left side of the offensive line. They didn't get the push and swallow up the Aggies like they do and have on the previous 3 runs to the right side.
Penn State yet to convert on 3rd down. 0 for 3. They need 3 yards here. It's a long 3. They have to get to the 27 of A&M.
You know who we haven't heard from tonight is that tight end, number 10, Andrew Quarles. He's a good football player. Tight end's not been around. He's not in the game.
It's Terrell Golden who motions to the slot. Morelli fires to Williams, who's hit immediately.
Now, this is setting up a 4th and 4 situation on that edge of field goal range where it's a 48-yarder. I don't know if you want to kick it. I think you want to go after this.
Good play by Arkeith Brown. Trying to get the ball to Williams, but he has had very little running room after the catch.
And I'm with you on this, Doug. You know what? Your offense has to stay on the field. You need points. Here comes Corliss, number 10, that tight end. Let him get in there and shake and bake and see if these linebackers that you say are old men at 27 can cover anybody.
Penn State's been an effective team on 4th down this season. 9 of 12.
There's that tight end on the right side.
Morelli lofting it. A barrel and a diving catch for a touchdown by Dion Butler. That pass almost hit the roof of the Alamo Dome. Butler beating Arkeith Brown. Nice catch.
He just wanted to give his receiver a chance to make a play. It's all out blitz. He knows he's going to get hit. He just wants to put it up.
This is like skeet shooting.
Wait a minute. Our field of vision here, we had to squat down to see the ball as it was flying through the air.
But he knew he was going to get, he just wanted to give his receiver a chance. Butler makes a play on the ball. It was all out blitz.
Now they'll pause to presumably take a look at this. Appeared to be a clean catch, but
Because the ball had so much arc on it and it took so long, I thought we were going to get an interference call out of that play.
Well, right here, the defensive back was lost.
Well, the Aggie crowd has its mind made up quickly, but I think he had his hands on the ball.
His hands were definitely on the ball. He gripped it,
but the ground cannot assist in the catch.
I don't think it did.
You don't think the ground assisted in that reception?
I think he caught the ball and touched the ground with it.
Let's see. Where's hands? Hands. I don't think there's anything that can say that he didn't catch the ball.
I mean, yes, when you have the ball in your hands and it hits the field, it's going to make a move up.
But I mean, the ground can't assist in the catch.
And that's the rule. So did it assist there? I don't think so.
To overturn that?
I call that a catch.
Well, as long as he's solid with his hands on the ball, in which he was, I think this is a touchdown.
Huge play because not only if they overturn this, it'll be Aggie ball. It was a fourth down play.
Absolutely. It was a fourth down play. A&M brought the house. It was a spread formation, one-on-one all over the field. Morelli just putting it up for grabs, and Butler, being an athlete, going up making a play.
Well, you know what? Penn State has several athletic wide receivers. They all make plays. You never know which one to cover, and you get single coverage on the outside. Tight end that I was talking about, Corliss, he stayed in to give him maximum protection, allowed the ball to be thrown.
I was talking with Mike McQuarrie before the game, the wide receiver coach for Penn State, and he says both Butler and Norwood are quick, athletic receivers getting out of their break. They do everything you ask of them.
We're told there's a problem with the communication system between this Conference USA crew and the replay crew upstairs. So he'll march over to the sidelines here and use another headset.
I think he just said, I have nothing.
Yeah. He's going to have to go to the sidelines and use a different headset to talk to the crew. So while they sort this out, we'll take a quick break. Penn State will either have cut this lead in half or it'll be A&M ball up 14-0. A lot riding on this replay review. Still under review here. It's been 6 minutes since the initial call. Again, we have to lip read. I apologize. The call of the field stands. It's a touchdown for Deon Butler. And a great catch. The point of rule is, does the field assist in the catch? And we thought that he had his hands on the ball, so he hit the field and came up, but the field did not assist in the catch.
Yeah, but he had firm possession with his hands. The ball did never move. It never changed in his hands. Touchdown.
Kelly on the conversion, so a 30-yard touchdown pass on 4th and 3. It's a 65-yard, 6-play drive for Penn State as they cut the lead to 14-7. We check back to Brees Davis in the studio.
Chris told you about the Tom Brady to Randy Moss touchdown pass. After the Patriots kicked off following that, Dominic Hickson, a former Akron star wide receiver, returned the kickoff for a touchdown. So the Giants have regained the lead. They're up 14-10 in the second quarter. Patriots, of course, trying to go 16-0.
Brees, thank you. Giants not making it easy for them.
The Giants came to play. Although they did say they were going to sub some guys in today, so we'll see how that goes.
You know what?
Half.
Hey, man, going into the playoffs, you want momentum. In my opinion, losing going into the playoffs is never good.
Do you sub guys in if you have the lead in the second half, though?
I wouldn't. You know, then somebody gets banged up in the second half, and you're criticized as a coach. And I agree with you, Craig. I say you build momentum going into the playoffs. You create a mindset.
Pierre Brown and Kerry Franks back deep to receive the kickoff, and it's a good one from Kelly. It'll be a touchback. Capital One Bowl week featuring 20 bowl games in 12 days. 4 Eastern. New Year's Eve, Kentucky faces Florida State. The Noles minus all those suspended players. And at 7:30, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, Clemson and Auburn. All part of Capital One Bowl week on ESPN Monday.
Bobby Bowden dealing with several suspensions.
Yes, you think?
Yeah, I think that would be a ball club. I mean, he's got a whole bus full of them that aren't going to play.
I would think that would be borderline number that you couldn't lose to play a football game. That's the biggest number of players we can ever recall suspended for a game, 36 of them.
When I played in the CFL, we had a 38-man roster.
Two-man football game.
32-man.
Well, as good as you say you are, you'd have been all right still.
Just you and a receiver, right? Got to play both ways, though. McGee. A flag down as McGee is stopped for no gain to the 20. Maurice Evans, the top pass rusher on the Lions, there on the tackle. This is the first flag tonight. It's been accepted anyway.
Illegal formation. 6 men on the line in scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Remain. First down.
Well, R.G. Detillier, the referee's got his mic back. He's in business.
Well, that's saying that one of the wide receivers didn't line up on the ball. He needed to be up on the ball, the ex-receiver. Split end.
Jaworski Lane, the big back, is at the bottom of your screen here, wide out.
It's a deep threat.
It's a fire across the middle, a very short completion on a crossing route to Kerry Franks. Dan Connor, leading tackler, 136 stops in the regular season, adding to that total.
Chris, I went out and watched him and stood next to him in pregame warming up. And the athleticism of his hips and his feet, the movement of him as a player, open space, Doug, it was unbelievable.
You know, a linebacker has to cover tight ends that run 4-5 down the middle of the field. They have to be physical with big fullbacks and have that athleticism.
2nd and 11. McGee is sacked. No, he stays on his feet and will eventually be sacked back at the 5 by Terrell Sales. So McGee got away but got himself into more trouble.
You know, the atmosphere in this stadium has been a home game for A&M, and all of a sudden the Penn State fans are waking up, and they're down in that corner right behind the offense right now, making a little noise and getting a little feel back in the game of momentum for Penn State.
You know what? This is called effort. Defense has to play till the whistle blows. You got to stay after them, and that caused the sack, really putting the Aggies in a hole back here.
Well, they're breaking the tackle. He loses more yards. I know you want to keep... What's that? Know when your journey's over? You keep... In that situation, he's trying to get away and a chance to maybe throw the ball away.
There's Aaron Maven who had him and let him get away, and then Sales with the sack. First for the Lions. 3rd and 22. And they flip it short. Goodson running back, look out, loses the football. Penn State recovers. Know when your journey is over, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you have to just be aware of where the pursuit's coming from. You have to understand the situation. It's the right call. Goodson's got the speed on the flat here. You're looking for 10, 12-yard pickup, punt the football. He recognizes right here, Goodson knows he's in trouble. The ball goes loose, out.
It was Sales who forced it, and a little bit of redemption for A.J. Wallace, who fumbled the kickoff. He makes the recovery.
He was very close to being out of bounds. I believe he was inbounds on the recovery.
See if they'll review that.
The point to make about the play is there was no way he's going to make a first down, Craig.
Yeah. Get the 10 or 12 and then punt.
Get the 12, buy yourself some space, punt it away, protect the football.
Good start for Goodson, who had a couple of touchdowns in the first quarter, but the fumble sets up Penn State at the 11-yard line. And it's Darrell Clark, shotgun formation, keeps it. Darrell Clark, the backup, diving, loses the ball. They signal touchdown. They signaled that Clark crossed the plane before he lost the ball.
The field judge, Chris Jamison, comes in with his arms raised up for touchdown. So the ruling on the field, at least by the field judge, has been for a touchdown.
Just lower your shoulder and get in the end zone.
Here's another look. Clark diving, and right at the plane, he's hit. Stephen Hodge forced the ball. Now, did they recover the fumble anyway?
I believe they did recover it.
You can see the scramble. Gerald Cadogan fighting for the football with Arkeith Brown. So, Penn State, with a little wrinkle of their own, cash in the Goodson fumble and tie the game.
I really wish the kids would quit going for the highlight reel and diving up in the end zone and reaching with the ball. Tuck the thing away. You're a big runner. Put your shoulder into the man and get in the end zone.
Nice job by Galen Hall, though, offensive coordinator, putting in a different quarterback.
ESPN College Football, the Valero Alamo Bowl, is brought to you by Valero, the all-American gasoline all across America.
There's a SeaWorld in San Antonio. I don't know. It's a detraction for the players who love going there when they're here for the Alamo Bowl. You got to find the guys who are small enough to fit in the wetsuits. As we check this touchdown, this was signaled a touchdown on the field as the Clark broke the plane right there before Brown knocked it loose. Now Gerald Cadogan, the tackle, recovered it anyway for Penn State. Clark's second rushing touchdown. Is this a lecture from Jopa?
Absolutely. Go get him, Joe. I love Joe. I love his mentality, his approach to the game, protect the football. I mean, Clark's a 230-pound quarterback. You know, why protect the ball for 99 yards and in the last foot extend it and get it out in the open?
Of course, when Michael Robinson was the quarterback at Penn State, they ran a lot of that zone read stuff. Morelli's not that kind of player, but they'll go back to a lot of that next year with Clark if he's the starting quarterback. This is Pierre Brown out near the 30, and the Aggies, who had scored 2 touchdowns in 12 seconds and had this place rocking, have watched the Lions score 2 touchdowns in 2:04 to tie it.
And you know what? You can sense it, man. Penn State's defense over there, they made some adjustments. They had some coaching changes. Players communicated with Tom Bradley on defense. They made the adjustment, came out, got the ball back for their offense.
A perfect example is that overshifted line. All you have to do, once they overshift and they're unbalanced, instead of treating the center and lining your defense up off the center, you just move over to the guard and say, okay, he becomes the center. Let's line our defense up off him.
Communication.
The turnover felt, as in so many college football games, the turnovers and points off turnovers would be the key tonight. The Aggies once again in front of that Penn State crowd down in that corner of the field, and McGee pressured again. Survives and throws it away. Had a chance for the completion. It was Joey Thomas, the tight end. I thought he was throwing away. It was so high and over the head of Thomas, but this is an A&M crowd, except for that corner of the Alamo Dome that the Aggies offense is operating in front of.
But don't you guys get the feeling that maybe the Aggies got the big head early? You know, the big lead, 14-zip.
And they're settling in now. Penn State's settling in.
I mean, the team of the crowd. The team of the crowd. The team relaxed?
I don't think the crowd settled in. They've been on the Riverwalk for a while, but the players haven't.
Lane and Goodson in the backfield on 2nd and 10. Lions showed pressure off the edge. And on the option, Lane lowers his head and earns about 3 yards before Sean Lee brings him down.
It's funny. He was on the edge earlier, right? The big guy's out on the edge running, and he kind of got pushed to the sideline. The coach just kind of had a talk with him. At some point, you got to try to hit that crease and turn north and south. So he says, okay, find me somebody and hit him.
That's what Kenneth Pope, the running back coach, told him. He said on last time, you got to get north and south, which is really where his strength is. I mean, Penn State would love to see the big fella running east and west.
Boy, Lee gets overshadowed by Connor, but he's a tremendous linebacker. 124 tackles. Second team all-conference in the league that featured Laurinaitis, Jay Lehman, the tackling machine from Illinois, and, of course, number 40 for the Lions. But Lee will be a preseason All-American next season. McGee flips complete. A flag comes down as Joey Thomas moves the ball into Penn State territory, but that flag is in the holding zone. Nope, it's a face mask against A&M. A 15-yard penalty negating the 19-yard gain.
Yeah, a lot of times that happens, either the holding or the face mask, because you're beat up front. And that time Penn State's defense came with 5 and the left side of the line and got in trouble.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 64. Offense. 15-yard penalty. Repeat. Third down.
It's the excellent guard, Kirk Elder, the senior.
Joey Thomas did a great job on that as the tight end, sitting down in the hole for his quarterback and showing great. Here's the hold. We got 64. They're up in the face.
Linebacker
up in the face, grabbing the face mask. 15-yard. Nice throw by McGee. Nice job by his tight end sitting down and sitting him down with the throw and the hole, the coverage.
Is that really a 15-yarder?
I don't think so.
Brief grab of the face mask?
Pretty brief. But you know what? When the officials saw it, the hand was clearly on the face mask.
3rd and 22. Pressure again. Lane, a nice one-handed catch. But immediately there was Lydell Sargent at 190 pounds, giving away 105 to Lane, making the tackle. Aggies will have to punt.
Hey, last time they had 3rd down, though, the turnover on the pass. They'll gladly accept this. The Aggies have to regroup now. Penn State's made the adjustment, Doug, defensively. Now it's up to Les Koenig in that offense to make an adjustment for it as well.
But how about the big guy grabbing it with one hand? He's thrown the ball a handful of times this year. Great athleticism.
Williams back deep after the 3rd consecutive 3 and out for this A&M offense. Brantley kicks it in front of Williams, angles it, and the roll inside the 25-yard line. Talked about Mike Sherman taking over as head coach next season for the Aggies. Aaron Andrews on the field with his first official hire. Aaron?
That's right. Associate Athletic Director and Recruiting Coordinator Tim Cassidy joining me right now. You get the phone call from Mike. You're taking the job. Obviously, Texas A&M waiting for Mike to finish up his season with the Texans. What was the very first thing you had to go out and do?
Well, the first thing I had to do is get to College Station. I did that as quick as I could, and leaving Nebraska was a tough thing to do. But to be down there, assess the recruiting talent that we have at this point in time, and try to help Mike put together a good coaching staff.
We were told by Gary Darnell yesterday, recruiting is all set for the next 2 years. What did you assess?
They've done a great job. The current coaching staff's done a great job holding all those players together, and it looks like a great future with these young men.
Said obviously Mike takes over here after his game tomorrow against the Jaguars. So what is your job, Ben, basically?
The next couple of weeks, we'll put together the rest of the coaching staff, with which we have a lot of guys interested this time. And then starting on January 13th, Mike and I will go on the road and meet with every one of these prospects.
All right, Tim. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Aaron.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron. Recruiting will be the first priority. Sherman, by the way, declined our invitation to join us in the telecast. He says he wants to focus on his duties with the Texans for one more game, and then this night belongs to the current coaching staff and the current Aggie team. On 2nd down, this is Kinlaw again. Nothing there. Sherman hired on the 26th. It was a very quick hire. Bill Byrne knew who he wanted. There was some criticism from the Black Coaches Association that there weren't more diverse candidates interviewed, but Byrne knew that Sherman was his guy. Packer head coach for 5 years, and of course A&M roots.
Well, I think the fact that Byrne knew it was his guy, he did the right thing, and the fact that he did it early. All of these recruits now that have committed to the Aggies and are looking at them, they understand who's coming in. They know that it's Mike Sherman, so they've been able to settle down and look forward to the future with Sherman.
Aggies trying to get a stop on 3rd and 4. Morelli flips it incomplete. Williams had his hands on it. Would have been a first down, couldn't hold on.
The other thing we were talking about with the recruits is to hang on to those verbally committed kids now. And this is a downtime until January 13th, like Cassidy said, and then you get active again in the recruiting and go out there and go after those kids and make sure you hang on to your commitments.
Hey, you know what? Dennis Francione and this staff here, they have always recruited well. There are a lot of really talented players on the field, as you're seeing right now. So it's just a matter of continuing what's been done here at A&M the last few years with Francione.
I don't know. You think they've recruited enough talent to be competitive, though, with Oklahoma and Texas?
Absolutely.
Really?
They've got talent on that football field. No question about it.
Nice boot from Jeremy Boone. He drives Roger Holland, the freshman, back inside the 20, and Holland spins to the 27. 50-yard punt. Aggies get the football back. 5:10 to play before halftime. All tied up.
We're on the Riverwalk in Valero's hometown of San Antonio, where thousands of college football fans are enjoying the warm Texas hospitality. As title sponsor, Valero is proud to bring the excitement of the Valero Alamo Bowl to fans across the nation. This year's matchup between Texas A&M and Penn State promises great excitement and energy as the Valero Alamo Bowl celebrates its 15th anniversary. So whether you're an Aggie or a Nittany Lion, or maybe just a fan of great football, we hope you're having fun and enjoying the game. On behalf of the Valero family all across America, be safe as you hit the highways this holiday season, and have a happy new year.
Thanks. Who would second those wishes? Great hospitality here in San Antonio for the Valero Alamo Bowl. Aggies got up to the fast start. Lions have answered. A&M now has the ball back at their 27-yard line. Only 7 yards in the second quarter for the A&M offense, and -6 rushing as McGee has been pressured and sacked. Show blitz again. It's Goodson up the middle. Connor on the tackle.
Wow. Some hitting up there.
Putting the D-line on the move a little there, slanting and moving and creating some problems for A&M.
But you know what I'm really watching here are the linebackers of Penn State. And the linebackers of Penn State, that defense.
Keep an eye. That's Abe Karoma. Again, Penn State cannot afford to have injuries on the defensive line, especially the interior. Really have 3 guys they're rotating a tackle with the injuries and the suspensions. You see Karoma, the freshman, helped off. Philip Taylor, number 90, has played very well. Sophomore. Option. Well strung out. He gets about 2. It'll set up 3rd and 3. Philip Taylor on the play there as we check back with Reese Davis.
All right, Chris, time for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. And other than our game, the game, and the story in sports, Patriots' quest for perfection in the National Football League. They're 15-0, and they have a 16-14 lead on the Giants late in the first half. 2 field goals after the Patriots fell behind 14-10, giving New England its 2-point edge. Plenty of post-game coverage coming on SportsCenter after the game.
Reese, thank you. Aggies 1 for 5 on 3rd down. They need just 2 yards. And Keandre Smith is in the ballgame and motions at the bottom of the formation. Empty backfield. McGee fires. Incomplete. A low throw. Pierre Brown in the neighborhood, but not a good play for McGee.
You just saw that. You saw the zone blitz over on that side, short side of the field. You know, that takes away that throw and that angle, doesn't it? You got to sometimes run the ball as a quarterback.
Well, I saw that same thing with the lineman pulling out of there and dropping in that zone blitz. It created a big gap for McGee to possibly step up through there and take off, which he does extremely well. He just misfired on a throw that he felt he should have made.
4th consecutive 3 and out for the Aggies as the Penn State defense has adjusted after the early confusion you guys were talking about. Serrato can receive a booming punt from Brantley. Forced back to the 10. Anthony Serrato spun down again. The excellent coverage from Texas A&M tonight. Well, once again this season, you can help decide the Pontiac game-changing performance of the year. Vote at ESPN.com. Search Pontiac to determine which of these 4 schools. And it's the little guys against the heavyweights in the SEC for $100,000 in general scholarship money from Pontiac. Appalachian State. The game that kind of set the tone for the season. The block field goal against Michigan. That wild play for Trinity, which is located down here in San Antonio against Millsaps. And Auburn and Alabama also involved both past winners of that. So
I like the Appalachian State game. It set the tone for the year.
Everybody felt like they had a chance after that happened. I thought that was the
and obviously the rest of the year they did have a chance.
That play is leading. You can vote until January 3rd, by the way, at ESPN.com. As Morelli overthrows and a flag is down. Now, was it uncatchable?
Like a little illegal contact down the field there.
Well, Chris Bell was the receiver, but the ball way over his head.
Interference. Defense. Number 18. 15-yard penalty from previous spot. Automatic first down.
They got Keith Brown, the man who was beaten for the touchdown by Deion Butler earlier.
You know what? This season, though, this is all about really opportunity. You've got coaches on the recruiting trail right now trying to find quarterbacks who can play in open space. Tim Tebow, Pat White, Dennis Dixon out in Oregon before he got hurt. So now all these coaches are trying to find players that can come in at quarterback and play in space and put pressure on defenses.
Absolutely. Spread offenses have equaled the playing field.
Morelli takes another shot downfield, and once again he was trying to get Chris Bell. Double coverage there, or Keith Brown in the area.
Not a great read by Anthony on that one. Had Derek Williams running the crossing route off the hard play action. You got to come off that deep ball and throw. Actually, it was a pretty deep crosser.
Doug, I'm not so sure that there's not a little bit of a question mark in the minds of the offensive coaches at Penn State whether they'd be more effective
with that
Clark
spread
and that spread and running the ball right now as opposed to Morelli and throwing some of the ball.
Like I said, he can throw the football. They've got some weapons at receiver. It's just a different offense. And like we were talking about, spread can equal the playing field in a hurry.
This is Derek Williams. Gets a block in the corner from Butler. Gets to the 35. And set up 3rd and 4.
Yeah, now here's where Darrell Clark, you know what? This is a great situation for Clark to come into the game.
It puts pressure on the defense. You have to defend everyone when your quarterback can take off and run.
There you go. Yeah, give him the help.
You have to account for the quarterback, and in a standard offense, you don't.
And there's nothing wrong with this. You know, we've seen many schools have success with it.
Morelli's still in the game, though, so we got 2 quarterbacks. Morelli will go out wide, and it will be Darrell Clark in the shotgun formation. Clark keeps it and shows the strong running ability out across the 45. This is a glimpse, not necessarily 2 quarterbacks in there, but a glimpse of what we'll see from Jopa's offense. His son Jay there on the right, Galen Hall in the middle. Some speculation that Galen Hall, the former Penn State player who is the offensive coordinator of title, will retire after this season. There's been no confirmation of that from Galen, but there's been some whispers around the program.
Well, he certainly had a great career as a coach. Means a lot to this program, and the balance that they've had within this coaching staff has been memorable.
Aaron talked about that 59 Liberty Bowl. Galen Hall came off the bench and threw a touchdown pass actually on a fake field goal. It was Penn State's first ever bowl win when Paterno was an assistant coach. Batted down at the line. It's actually caught by a lineman. A.Q. Shipley, the center on the carom, moves the ball forward about 4 yards.
All right, start making the phone calls now. Mom, Dad, find this picture. Did somebody get a picture of me catching this football?
Well, look at him. Shipley standing there in the middle. Ball
great reaction.
There was Ornberger actually got a hand on it. Ornberger, the guard, tipped it up.
Is that quick feed or
Shipley
what?
made the catch, and yes, it is his first catch of the year.
Maybe not quite Jaworski Lane, but you know what? Nonetheless, he started the play and he ended the play with the ball.
Unbelievable.
Shipley's listed at 2 pounds lighter than Lane, by the way. Coriopolis in Pittsburgh Airport area. On 2nd and down, it's Kinlaw trying to muscle ahead. Picks up about 3 yards. It'll set up a 3rd and 2. Misi Dupe on the stop. We check back with Reese for a preview of what's coming up at halftime. Reese?
All right, Chris, we'll show you how the Dogs were able to stop the nation's leading rusher and keep Barry Sanders' spot in the record book safe. Pardon me. The Huskies were also muzzled. UCLA has a new coach in Rick Neuheisel. Lou and Mark will join me. We'll see you at halftime.
Mississippi State, an underdog in that game out of the SEC, and that's just the 2nd upset of the bowl season. Penn State just converted 3rd down for the first time in that previous drive. They need 2 yards here. Morelli, a completion in traffic to Kinlaw, who will get the first down at the 41. Getting a hand was Red Bryant, the defensive tackle, because Kinlaw had some room if he'd gotten free from big number 85.
Yeah, it looked a little cluttered there. I thought Kinlaw did a great job of changing directions and just managing to get some positive yards.
How about a great job of holding on to the football?
And Penn State will spend a timeout there first, a minute 16 before halftime. Lions at the 41 with the first down, trying to grab the lead here in San Antonio. Welcome back. Morelli on first down was pressured, trying to get the ball to Jordan Norwood. Mark Dodge in there quickly on the quarterback with Chris Harrington. 2nd down.
Going back a couple of plays, you get a completion to your center. Back in USFL days, I had a completion to Kent Hall, who was an all-pro center for years with the Buffalo Bills. And Kent has a life-size poster blow-up of him carrying a football and rumbling down the field with it.
How many yards did he gain? A bunch?
Got about 15 on it. 15? It was one of those lonesome polecat plays where he was actually eligible on the play.
Shovel pass incomplete, and now a late flag. It was Kinlaw, but Morelli was pressured again off the edge. And a penalty against Penn State. Holding.
We actually called the play the tower.
Holding. 61. Offense. 10-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Replay. 2nd down.
We We called it the Tower after Donald Trump. He was our owner at the time.
You have to call certain things in a game. If it's Trump involved, I'm sure you had several things, right?
As long as it works, he was happy. If it didn't work,
confusion. What's this?
There hasn't been that much love between these schools down here this week.
That's a quick unification.
That's wrong.
On 2nd and 20, and you fake it to Kinlaw. Morelli fires over the head of Williams and too short for Chris Bell.
It's that kind of ball right there that I think is the reason that Penn State fans over the years have given so much grief to Morelli. Sometimes he throws a beautiful ball. Sometimes he throws something like that you're like, who is he going to?
He's missed a couple opportunities for some big chunks, some 20-yard chunks on those deep crossing routes, especially to Williams coming across the field. And you've got to hit those throws. Be patient, put some touch on that ball, make that throw.
Morelli in his career has been under a 60% passer. Just 8 for 16 tonight. The one touchdown to Norwood. Or Butler, I said. And 3rd and long. Morelli fires, shows the arm strength. Has Golden inside the 20. Arm strength is not the issue, however.
And that's where you scratch your head, right? And you say, wait a minute, here's a guy that just threw one the play before, had no idea what he was doing. But this time, Doug steps up in the pocket, looks down the field, looks at the read. He goes from left down to the middle and delivers a perfect
strike. It's only a 2-man rush. There's 9 guys in coverage, and he threads the needle down the middle of the field.
Second catch for Golden, picks up 32 yards, and now 46 seconds to go in the first half. Penn State has to become aware of the clock. How huge was that play on 3rd and a mile? A chance to get points before halftime, and Penn State will get the football back to begin the second half.
And you take into consideration they were down 14-0, that they could at least go into the 17-14 lead. Huge.
We've had a reversal of 2 different defenses. The Aggies, they started out fresh, and now you've got Penn State.
Penn State began 3-0, the big win over Notre Dame. Then they lost to Michigan, and turnovers killed them against Illinois. Came back to beat Iowa and Wisconsin, played very well. The highlight of the season, certainly the big win over Wisconsin. Ohio State was just better than they were. They won 2 of the last 3, but the low point of the season had to be surrendering a 17-point lead at Michigan State. And that's finished at 8-4.
And that's really been what they've talked about this week down here. Overcoming that, very frustrated, disappointed. But to finish off what I was saying, you got an Aggie defense that's tired. Penn State's defense is over there, and they're rested.
2nd and 9. Penn State 1 timeout left. Golden comes in motion, play action fake, and Morelli fires for Golden and had him again, missed him. Golden was open for a touchdown.
I just feel like he's rushing a couple of these throws. He had plenty of time, be patient, he tried to anticipate there and misfired.
Some of it, Doug, might be the fact that he's been hit in the backfield. Not a lot of sacks, but he's been hit on several throws, and maybe he's thinking a little bit.
McCrary, former Penn State quarterback, is the receivers coach. There's signals in the plays for Penn State. Now Clark will come back in the game. Morelli shifts to a receiver position on 3rd and 9. First look at this formation. Clark has blockers, has the corner, and has a 1st and goal.
You know what, fellas? When you put a quarterback in there and he's on in a slot, and you're thinking, well, why not just take him out and put a receiver in there, right? But, man, the block that Morelli makes on the left side here, 14, bottom of your screen.
On Brown.
Puts him to the ground.
He cut Brown right in the open field, allowed the corner to be taken.
It's a pretty good block.
Get a view of it here.
Great job.
Boom.
Through the legs, rolls him up on the ground. There you go.
I'm sorry, it wasn't Brown. Yes, it was.
Doug, you never rolled anybody up, did you?
Absolutely.
Did you? We have proof somewhere. Call home, tell Lloyd.
I might have to pull out some CFL film to find it.
Now they'll review, I would presume, the spot on this one. It's spotted at the 5 for a 1st and goal. Let's see where that foot went out.
Yeah.
hard to say. That was not where they called it out. They called it at the 5, so there has to be conclusive evidence to move it back a couple yards.
I didn't see any white underneath that foot. Well,
I think he's definitely outside the 5.
Ball was outside the 5.
Yeah, somewhere between the 5 and the 7.5.
Where they spotted it, it was a 13-yard run for Clark. He was carried 4 times for 44 yards, and a big moment in this game. Penn State, which is a very effective red zone team. Their red zone scoring percentage is excellent. Their touchdown percentage is not that good. I mean, Joe's mentality, frankly, is to never come away empty in the red zone. He accepts a lot of field goals down there. Here,
the play on the field is being reversed. The runner stepped out of bounds on the 7-yard line. First down.
Okay, they'll move it back 2 yards. We didn't see it that clearly, but apparently they see fit to move it back to the 7. It'll still be first and goal. 36 seconds and a timeout. Penn State really struggled on 3rd down early in this game. Now they're 4 for 4 on this drive.
And including that large completion that we just saw from Morelli.
I think the running of Clark has added that aspect too, though, on those 3rd down conversions.
Again, that refers to 89.5% red zone possessions that come away with points. The touchdown percentage is not nearly as good. And in their losses, Michigan and Illinois, red zone failures were key. Morelli fires short of the end zone. Norwood makes the catch. Check that, they'll rule it incomplete. But he had it on the sidelines. Did not have control. 2nd and goal.
He dropped it on the sideline, though. The ball came out.
After the foot, though?
He gets hit. And the ball came out pretty quickly, so I would call it incomplete and stay with it, even though the foot was in bounds.
14th play of this drive. Shovel pass. Kinlaw. Drop for a loss. And a wily veteran, Mark Dodge, almost 27 years old, going to make the stop, and Paterno spends his last timeout.
Yeah, that's a great example of how a defensive coordinator can put a play in for his defense to force the ball inside to Dodge. Corner blitz came, shovel pass underneath, and it really pushed the runner back into Dodge.
Dodge, we talked to him yesterday. He's not that big a guy. You look at him, you don't think of him as a linebacker body that's going to be stepping up in there, taking on fullbacks and busting
they
people
list him
up.
at 6'2", 220. He doesn't look it, does he? He's recently engaged to be married. That's Courtney Major, Mark's fiance. He's got a job lined up at Trinity Industries in mid-January. This is it. The last time I put on football pads.
My first thought comes to my mind. She's sitting next to a guy, and Aggie's tradition is if there's a touchdown, they kiss their person next to him. I believe if I had a fiance, I'd want females on either side.
I thought that was just the core.
No, it's Aggies. That's all the way across.
So this guy right here.
Yeah, Mark Dodge will be looking him up.
They got some rules in Texas, boy.
They'll be running that low after the game.
3rd and goal. They have no timeouts. Morelli fires to the end zone in traffic and incomplete. Risky throw for Morelli. He's trying to find Corliss. The Aggies had him surrounded. Hey, that's going to be my guy. In a short field goal attempt.
Yeah, great reaction by Kenny Brown, breaking on the ball. Morelli in a situation where he's trying to force it in there. You want to come away with points, as we said. Penn State has been very good at coming away with points.
You see how hard he threw that pass, though?
When you have to throw it that hard, you probably shouldn't be throwing.
He let it go.
The lefty Kelly is so erratic beyond 40 is almost automatic inside 40. 17 of 17. This just 25 yards. No problem.
The other side of throwing that hard is, though, those defensive backs don't catch the ball too well.
No.
So 17 straight points for Penn State after falling in a 14-zip hole to Gary Darnell's team.
You see how hard Gary Darnell is coaching them up right now, trying to keep them going. It was critical that the Aggies start fast in this game. Coaching transition, you wondered if they'd be there for him. Darnell was able to bring his ball club in here, and they had the enthusiasm. And I think the competitiveness of it the spirit of the game has allowed them. They'll go into halftime. They'll have to make an adjustment, come back out, and keep going.
And there are 9 teams that are playing in bowls with head coaching transition situations. The previous 4, 0-4. Navy, Southern Mississippi, UCLA, and Houston losing their bowl games. Still ahead, Georgia Tech, Arkansas, Michigan, of course, West Virginia. And only Georgia Tech is favored. It's a tough thing to play a bowl game with a coaching staff in transition. Usually there's a reason why the coach is not there.
And on top of that, you're going against Joe Paterno, who is one of the all-time greatest, the best ever, probably at getting ready for bowl games.
I think the biggest fear there is if you were to get behind, if you do get behind late in the game, of not folding up the tents and saying, let's move on and, we'll wait till next year now. And finishing this ball game and finishing strong and coming back.
Aggie teams rarely fold the tent, though. This is Kerry Franks trying to create a play here before the end of the first half, and he's able to get across the 40. Forced out by Justin King. The Aggies survived a game against Fresno State. One of the low points, they were embarrassed national TV against a Miami team that turned out to be not very good. They'd win 3 of 4. Embarrassed by Texas Tech. Embarrassed by Oklahoma. Also lost to Kansas and Missouri. But that, by far, the highlight. Dennis Franchione telling his staff just before that game with Texas that he would not be coming back. And the team was told just after the game. They were in the locker room celebrating the emotion, beating their arch rivals for the second straight year. And Coach Fran said, settle down, I got something to tell you. And the team, especially number 7 there, McGee, shattered. He spent 30 minutes in his locker by himself before he could collect himself and go talk to the media about what was a huge win. So it has been a roller coaster the last month and a half. McGee steps up, fires downfield. One-on-one battle for the football, almost intercepted. Michael Corey is going against A.J. Wallace, and Serrato, the safety, came over to help late.
You know, yesterday visiting with Stephen McGee, we started talking about this team and Franchione and the staff leaving. And he really, it looked like tears came to his eyes when you brought the conversation up about Franchione and the fact that some of the seniors were leaving.
Well, he was very emotional about it and about this group and the connection and how close they are and the camaraderie and the loyalty to Fran. So you know, moving on to the next coach and the next regime is going to be difficult.
McGee had the guts to stand up for Franchione, which was not a very popular thing to do. He speaks very fondly of his former coach. McGee flips it out. This will be the final play of the first half. Goodson laterals it around. This is Irvin Taylor. Irvin Taylor will be brought down to the 43-yard line by Dan Connor.
You know, if that's the last play of the game, the coaches don't mind it. The last play of the half, that ball could go the other way now, so you got to be careful. Wound up in a turnover, no harm though.
So the Aggies, a fast start. Penn State, 17 straight, and they're 8-1 when they've had the lead at halftime. That was that Nebraska-Michigan game a few years ago. There was a wild finish when Michigan had the ball and eventually just ran out of bounds at the end of the game. Let's go to Aaron with Joe Paterno.
All right, Chris. Coach, what adjustment did your defense make in that second quarter to force 4 straight 3-and-outs?
Oh, I don't know. We played a little better, played a little more alert, came off some blocks. Nothing. We really didn't change much. I think the first half we probably, early in the game, we were a little bit lethargic. We were doing a little more stunning than we had to do.
What about Daryl Clark? He scores your second touchdown to tie it up. More yards for him tonight than he's had all season. What kind of option is he giving you?
Well, he can do a lot of things. He can run and he can throw the football. And, it's a change of pace for us. In certain situations, when you had a little time for a bowl game, you can do something. And figured that Texas A&M would not have seen it. So it's worked out well so far.
All right, Coach, thank you. Little sit down with Joe Papa, Chris.
I enjoyed that. He's not always as accommodating at halftime, is he? Trying to win his 23rd bowl game and his 34th appearance and his 500th game as head coach. Therese, Mark, and Lou, the Flomax. Halftime. Well, here in San Antonio, Alamo Dome filled with Aggie faithful. They saw their team jump out to a 14-0 lead. A pair of touchdowns by Mike Goodson. The Penn State turning things around, scoring the last 17 points of the first half. Welcome back, along with Doug Flutie and Craig James. I'm Chris Fowler. Now it's the Aggies' turn to kind of respond and make adjustments because the Lions' offense, running the ball particularly, Craig, effective in that first half, 144 yards.
And A&M's defense on the left side really has to get geared up and play strong because Penn State in the second half is going to come out, and this is just to the right side. Kinlaw is just a stretch zone, and they've been able to get the angles on the Aggies inside. They will run this play until the Aggies stop it in the second half, or they'll pound them to death.
Or even on the second, when the safety's rotating down to that side, the receiver makes the block, so they're being more physical up front just overall.
Each team cashing in on a turnover, which set up a short field. Goodson fumbling after he had scored those 2 touchdowns. Penn State scored a touchdown on a 4th down gamble, a completion from Morelli to Deion Butler, and the Lions will get the ball to start the second half. This is A.J. Wallace, who fumbled kickoff return and then made a fumble recovery as a defensive back. Our Valero game track. And this was Goodson, the second of his 2 touchdowns, equaling his total from the regular season. 14-0. And then this is the 4th down completion. Brilliant catch by Deion Butler.
Just a huge play on 4th down conversion versus the blitz.
And Darryl Clark, the backup quarterback, the wrinkle they've shown a lot of tonight, did break the plane. Fumble recovered by a lineman for Penn State anyway. He added a late field goal just before halftime, and 17-14 as we begin the third quarter. This is Kinlaw, who had a strong first half and burst through the middle. Rodney Kinlaw to the 35 as we check to Aaron Andrews on the field.
Chris had a chance to speak with A&M interim head coach Gary Darnell, asking him what happened in that second quarter against Penn State's defense, and he said, I got to be honest with you, I'm a defensive coordinator, so offensively I don't really know what to say, but what he did say about what Penn State's defense was, they started playing fundamentally sound, and he said, now it's our turn to go to our second game plan. I asked him what that was, and he said, you got to stay tuned and watch. Keep in mind, guys, this is the he didn't give me much, all right, I'll be honest. This is the final half for this coaching staff. I asked him if it got emotional. He said, yes, it did get emotional because they want to go out there and play and send these coaches out right.
It's funny, Gary, we're referring all offensive questions to Les Koenig.
Yeah, absolutely. Pass the buck on that one there. But, the emotions of it. Before the game, in the Aggies locker room, the coaching staff and the players all shouting at each other, 60 minutes, 60 minutes.
There's Koenig on the right, a native of San Antonio, the offensive coordinator, but 5 straight 3-and-outs for that Aggie offense to end the first half. And 2nd and 11, Morelli fires incomplete. There was nobody in the neighborhood. Chris Harrington pressuring him. Morelli does a very good job of throwing the ball away. They don't take a lot of sacks, only sacked 20 times all season. He is not afraid to throw it away.
Is that ink or drawing or something? Yeah, nice job on the heads.
You can see in the second quarter, Lions turned it around, and the Aggies coming up with just 32 yards for building that 14-0 lead.
On that last play there, Craig, Red Bryant snuffed at that screen. Morelli had to throw it away.
That's hair. Is that full commitment? Yeah.
That is in. Nice job, fellas.
You think?
Happy New Year.
What do the girlfriends think?
What does the moms think?
3rd and 11, Morelli flushed. Almost intercepted. He threw it right at big old Red Bryant, who had nothing but
Red snuffed
artificial turf in front of him.
He snuffed out the screen before, almost had a pick, and Morelli threw it into the ground. This time he's trying to get it by him and hit him in the chest.
How about RB? You know what? They will give him some serious grief on this. I mean, right?
Chester.
You boy.
Aggie defense does its job. A 3-and-out for the Lions to start this third quarter.
Smiling. A big 322-pound guy, but he had a smile on his face yesterday. Very low-key, soft-spoken.
He is, isn't he? Roger Holland, the freshman, takes it at the 15. Good coverage by the Lions. Sean Lee, the starting linebacker, the second-team all-conference guy on special teams. Alabama and Colorado as Capital One Bowl week continues. Petro Sun Independence Bowl tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Hawkins' team rebounding from 2-10 last year. Alabama, of course, a disappointing season. How excited will they be to be in Shreveport? That'd be a question.
Yes, sir, it will be. But you know what? Nick Saban, I think I'd get excited if I came out of the locker room with a helmet on with a crimson tide, or he's going to get you.
Neither program's had consecutive losing seasons in a long time. It's been 45 years for Alabama, so that's what's on the stake for the Tide. McGee has it on first down, takes a shot downfield, looking for Franks, and it's intercepted by A.J. Wallace. So Wallace had the early fumble on the kickoff, but now he's got a couple of takeaways.
And you know what? Just because you get the blitz protection picked up and you get single coverage on the outside doesn't mean that you throw it all up and throw it on the inside.
Wallace had great position the entire way, was not beat on the play, had his back to the sideline so he could see the ball thrown, and just made the catch. It was an easy interception for him.
Generally the right idea, but the ball has got to be out wide.
Up and over, outside shoulder of the receiver gives your receiver an opportunity. He threw that with low trajectory, which gave the receiver no chance.
McGee is a big hunter. He says his dream job would be professional deer hunter. He misfired on that one. Missed the mark big time. And so it's Clark in at quarterback and handing off to Evan Royster. First carry for the freshman, Spelling Kinlaw, and Chris Harrington there on the stop. Like McGee, who will have surgery on his shoulder this week. It hasn't been a well-publicized injury, but he did suffer a shoulder separation in the middle of the season. Very tough kid. Played through that, but will have shoulder surgery to kind of clean that up. And imagine as soon as he gets it rehabbed, it'll be back to hunting, right?
But it's his non-throwing shoulder.
Right.
You know, so he'll have to use a rifle. He won't be able to do the bow hunt.
Right. It'll be the shoulder he didn't have to kick the rifle back on, right? That left shoulder? Okay. It's important down here. Morelli has plenty of time. Throwing way downfield for Derek Williams in traffic. Intercepted. Stephen Hodge collecting the Morelli throw in his first pick of the night.
And again, you know what? You'd have to question the mindset of Morelli on this throw. Why would you throw the ball down there? You just had a turnover. You're at midfield, Doug. You go down the field methodically.
It's the hardest thing to teach kids. You don't have to throw the ball. You don't have to complete every pass and try to make a play. The receiver is not open on the play, obviously, but he had a chance to step up. He had a chance to hang on to the ball for a while. He felt obligated to put it up for grabs and let Derek Williams go make a play.
Hodge did a heck of a job there of positioning and going and becoming a receiver.
First pick for the senior. A&M got to be careful here at the 1-yard line. It's Lane. Very little for the big man. Ali Ogbu, freshman, on the stop. Well, that's the kind of decision that has haunted Morelli in his career, guys. I mean, that's what has drawn criticism from Penn State fans, is that decision-making. You're up 3, you have momentum.
You know, and that's, I'd say 85, 90% of the battle at the quarterback position is decision-making.
What's the other 50%?
Yeah. That's Texas math, all right? That's Texas math.
It's fuzzy math down here.
Morelli's final game at Penn State, he believes he does have a future at the next level. McGee in the end zone, flips it short to Lane. And Jaworski Lane loses the football. Aggies get it back. Travis Schneider, the tackle, avoiding a disaster as he collects Lane's fumble at the 20.
You know what? There really is something to running backs being used to being in the open field, okay? Because there's a presence about you. You understand that their defenders coming from other angles. And Jaworski Lane, he's tackle to tackle. He's not used to dancing. You don't dance with that kind of size.
He's swinging that ball out to the side. He's ready to make a move and run. He got in the open field, so now he thinks he's a little scat back, and that ball was swinging out.
First down in the last 7 possessions for A&M. They hand it off inside here. This is Keandra Smith, their third tailback. Still Demue's sophomore.
I'd be interested for Aaron, to be down there and really listen to this Aggie sidelines and, what the emotions are. I mean, this is a critical part in the football game. They have to come out, Aaron, and they have to play with the same passion that they started with.
Well, I was over on the sideline when Hodge intercepted the ball, and obviously the defense very hyped up, but the offense before they came out very down, upset about the interception by Stephen McGee, so we'll be interested to see how they recover here.
Lane. Short of the first down. They'll set up 3rd and short. Philip Taylor on the stop.
Part of coming out and playing loose and doing some of the trick formations and all that, you get in that mindset that we're having fun, which is a great way to play football, but you still need to protect the ball. And sometimes it lends itself to being a little bit loose with the football.
Lane comes out of the game on a 3rd and 1. It's Goodson behind Chris Alexander.
So do they run the option?
They run the fullback. Alexander fighting forward. It'll be close right at that 30-yard line.
And what I mean by that, Chris, Doug, how it is, you got tendencies, right? We've seen the I formation, and we've seen McGee pull the ball, run the option to the sideline, right, to Goodson.
So, you line up in there, and I believe he had that option to pull it, maybe run the option there. It looked to me like he was directing the run at the line of scrimmage and trying to get to the best play. So when you have that outside threat, you're thinking running the option, you want the other backs in there.
Yankees have moved the ball from the 1 to the 31 now. McGee has it. Goodson on the edge. The speed option picks up about 7.
Man, we saw this team back, seems like last year. We had them down at Miami, and what was probably the beginning of the unraveling somewhat of the season for the Aggies.
Jaworski didn't touch the ball in that, what was it, one time the whole game, or at least in the first half. It wasn't a part of that offense, and boy, defensively allowing a lot of passing yards to a Miami offense that couldn't throw the ball the rest of the year.
Darnell took a lot of blame, didn't he, when he was asked about that Miami game, which really was the beginning of the undoing for the A&M defense. It's Goodson. He's near the 40. Aaron, that was a real low point in the season. We watched them lose in Coral Gables.
Certainly was, and it was a low point for A&M's quarterback Stephen McGee as well. We heard yesterday from A&M's SID Alan Cannon when the team returned from Miami, Stephen McGee found a note on his car from a student that said, "It's time to transfer. You need to transfer." And apparently some of the members of the offensive line grabbed it, ripped it up, said, "You're not going anywhere. We're in this together." And if you look at the wrists of the players from Texas A&M, they're wearing bracelets that say Band of Brothers. Those are bracelets Stephen McGee had made up before the season. It's something this team really believes in, Chris.
They have stayed together despite the disappointing season, losing their coach. But on 3rd and short, Big Lane can't get it. Mark Rubin, the safety, there to make the stop. Abe Caroma and Josh Gaines plugging the middle for the Lions.
You know what? That just shows. I've really been impressed with this Penn State team. But look at the strength.
Rubin, you're right, resting Big Lane down.
Well, with the big guy at tailback, that's what you're expecting, north and south.
And
right?
I agree with this. I totally agree with this.
They're going for it.
You cannot not go for it when you had 3rd and short and you got a ground game that they think they can do something with. This was a good call.
They need a full yard from their own 40. And they're going to throw it. Bennett makes the catch, fights forward, and has a first down. There's a wrinkle. Darnell, who doesn't call the offensive plays, applauding that as Bennett, who's been contained pretty well tonight. 3 catches for 3 yards.
Great awareness by Bennett. I mean, great awareness of knowing where that first down is.
This is one of those calls where we all sit around and you say, "Hey, play action, 4th and short." But you really don't ever have the guts to call it. But you get a guy that's a former basketball player.
He's 3 yards away from the first down when contact is made.
Wow, great effort.
Good thing he's 6'7".
Yeah, exactly. Stretching that body. He's a junior who has not announced what his intention is for next season yet. his way near midfield. Downhill run from the 295-pounder.
Downhill run, but he does have some feet.
Yeah.
That was a nice little shifty move, little cut north and south, starts out to the side, boom, put the foot in the ground and go north and south.
You know what, man, keep that football close to your body when you're running through the traffic.
Coach him up, Greg.
I don't know if coaches are coaching players anymore about protecting the football.
That's Kenneth Pope. He was at SMU my last year there. I mean, that's a good coach, and he'll coach him up.
Okay, go get him.
Joey Thomas, the tight end, in motion. Awkward handoff to Goodson in the backfield, but he shakes free for a first down.
Looks like the old sprint draw action where he's standing there flat-footed when he takes the handoff.
You know what? And this is the same type of run that Kinlaw did for Penn State earlier in the game where we said, wow, look at that start and that acceleration. You can't run this play unless the tailback has extremely quick feet and acceleration.
It's that explosiveness going from stationary, feet in the ground. You know, usually you get that rolling start when you take a handoff. Here he was sitting flat-footed and then boom, took off.
Remember, this drive began on the A&M 1 after the interception by Hodge. They moved it 56 yards in 11 plays. First down. This is Smith. Cameron Smith giving Goodson a rest.
It's been all basically on the ground, and what I was getting ready to say was that the defensive line may be wearing down as this game goes.
Well, Chris, you haven't called number 40 Dan Connor a whole lot tonight, and he's really been cut off. The Aggies have been able to get out on Connor, and just knocking him to the ground. He's been a couple plays early in the first quarter. I saw him getting cut off. He hadn't made a lot of plays like he normally does.
He got 7 tackles, but he hasn't made any big plays yet. That was Cody Wallace, the center, the fine center, getting out there and blocking Connor that time. Goodson in motion on 2nd and 7. It's Lane. I'll tell you guys, this Penn State defensive line, we knew this would be a major question mark and a weakness with a very thin rotation in there. You saw Abe Karoma, 97, who was helped off earlier back in the game. I think Phillip Taylor, the young sophomore, number 90, has done a heck of a job too.
I think what they're doing, defensively, they're making the calls to stunt and move the line. The line's been slanting quite a bit, bringing the backers off the edge or looping them behind them to get movement in there so guys can just take their gap and penetrate.
And I like the strength of the tackles. The tackles inside, for the most part, have held up well against the Aggies inside.
Crucial 3rd and 6 for A&M. Complete. First down to the 25. Irvin Taylor. 14 yards on the slant.
I kind of looked at it as it was 2-down territory anyway.
I thought it was an exceptional job by McGee reading the blitz. Again, another zone blitz. The blitz came from his right, throws back to the left. Quick slant, good rhythm, good timing.
McGee had a very rough second quarter as Josh Beckett, Red Sox pitcher's a big Aggie fan. Sideline.
Go Sox.
Okay. That's for you, Flutie. You and Aaron Andrews.
Even the pony had a Red Sox shirt on today.
I did. I had a Red Sox shirt on. Hey, I'm
Not
a
you
Cape
too.
Cod, Massachusetts. I'm a landowner.
Not you too.
Huh?
You're jumping on that bandwagon for Boston. Beckett was awesome. Unbelievable.
Yeah, you've been riding the crest of the Red Sox. This is Doug Flutie's year because they
big year.
Win the World Series. You can get inducted to the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame, which caused you to miss
What was
a game
the most
for
important
us.
one of them all, though? You know what? We had a drop ball in the end zone, and we had a bad call for too long to throw. I had 5 Mississippis.
I don't know. Chris Fowler was my main receiver.
You have to let it go, Greg.
Blackie next to him over there.
You ought to put it on graphics now. Our Turkey Day crew call.
On 2nd and 6, this is Goodson. Reversing field. Trying to get the corner, and a couple of flags fly. And he grabbed his face mask.
You know what's interesting about college football, the call of face masks? is on offense, it's 15. There's no option of 5 or 15. On defense, it can be a 5 or a 15. They're trying to level that out where it's both ways, 15.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Face mask, number 46, defense. Holding, number 76, offense. Those penalties will offset, replay it down, second down.
Okay, here's a question for you, though. The holding sprung the runner to the outside and got him on the corner and got him in a position where the defender didn't really have to face mask him there. But say you got a step on him, so because of the original holding call, the defender was in a position he had to make a face mask.
You know what it is?
It's offsetting.
Offsetting.
Repeat second down. Pretty simple.
I know.
Young lawyer.
Unbalanced line again for the Aggies here. And McGee will run to the weak side. Now reverse to his right. Firing for the end zone and overthrowing Bennett.
Good observation there by you, Chris, because that was the first time they've gone to the weak side. Really, they've been going over to the strength of the formation.
Well, I was hoping to get a little roll left and a throw back to a wheel route, and defense snuffed it out a little bit. A little trickeration, a little trick play, looking backside, faking the roll.
Is that a word?
That I still don't think it's a word, no, but people use it too much now, so it's probably...
People, you used it.
I use it because everybody else uses it and we accept it.
Martellus Bennett looks gassed. He's out of the game now with his helmet pulled up off his head, and he'll kneel down. The 17th play of this drive that began at the 1-yard line. He needs 6 on third down. The leading receiver not in there. Bennett will watch his quarterback chased. McGee gets rid of it just before being tackled. Now it'll be 4th and 6. Good pressure from Josh Hull. Excuse me, Doug.
I'm sorry. He does an exceptional job of extending plays. Unblocked rushers. Most quarterbacks, it's a hot read. You got to get rid of the ball. He makes the guy miss. You can have an opportunity for a big play.
And managing. You know what? His decision-making versus what Morelli did on his last time with the football. Get the 3 points. Make sure you don't turn it over.
Matt Szymanski will attempt to tie this game from 38 yards. He's only 5 of 9 between 30 and 39. He's struggled this year. Manages to hook this one in. So the Aggies drive 78 yards in 17 plays to tie this game at 17. All right, Reese, thank you. Lloyd Carr, one of those coaches who's ending his tenure there. 9 of them. It's a big number. 9 bowl teams whose coaches are moving on.
Well, Michigan's got a good one. Rich Rodriguez is a big get for Michigan. He's going to really change the whole landscape of the Big Ten. He's going to force teams to recruit to be able to learn to play in open space against his offense.
How long will it take, you think, to get the personnel lined up with the scheme and succeed big at Michigan?
All depends on the trigger. Get a Pat White, all of a sudden you're off and running.
Williams dropped at the 16. In the running for Terrell Pryor, a high school senior quarterback of the Nittany Lions and the Buckeyes. Also Covett. 17 apiece, late third quarter.
ESPN College Football, the Valero Alamo Bowl, is brought to you by Valero, the all-American gasoline all across America. Sing, the in-car technology that voice activates your MP3 player, Bluetooth phone, and more. And Taco Bell, think outside the bun.
Here in San Antonio, the Aggies have stopped the streak of 17 straight points for the Lions. Those boots are important. The members of the corps, right? The seniors get the tall boots, right, Greg? And they get to wear them around on campus. It's a hugely prestigious thing. Those, not so much.
That's what I wear. I wear those kind of boots right there with the crepe sole on them.
Ostrich boots for Josh Beckett.
And the buckle. And the buckle.
I got the buckle. Hey, I was at Aggie graduation last weekend. My daughter graduated from there. Really a special place for these kids to go there. Nice commencement.
Aggie defense inspired, and Kinlaw stopped for no gain by Lucas Patterson. We'll check back with Reese Davis again. Reese?
Chris, 11 and a half minutes, a little less than that now, separating the Patriots from perfection, but they've got some work to do. Down 5 to the Giants, 28-23. Plenty of post-game coverage coming up on SportsCenter.
Eli Manning having a good game there.
Silence some folks maybe as they head to the playoffs. On 2nd and 10. It's Kinlaw spinning back and muscling out near the 30. So after Morelli's first interception of the night, set up the long field goal drive for the Aggies. Lions going back to the ground.
Well, that's where they feel they have an advantage. They're more physical up front and have an opportunity to hammer the football.
It's Kinlaw who's down. Well, they attend to the senior running back who's already rushed for 113 yards tonight. We'll take a quick break. This game being broadcast on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro. Just a short walk away from the Alamo in the Alamo Dome. Penn State faces a 3rd down and about 1.5 yards. 17 apiece. Inside of 3 minutes in quarter number 3. And the Aggies reason to make noise again, trying to inspire that defense. It's Evan Royster in with Kinlaw having been helped off the field. And the freshman gets it. And a whistle before the snap.
False start. Number 82 offense. 5-yard penalty. Down remains 3rd.
Noise on that end, perhaps contributing, so it'll be 3rd and 6 as we check back quickly with Reese.
Chris, I told you the Patriots had some work to do, and they did quite a bit of it. Tom Brady to Randy Moss, 65 yards, both setting single-season records for touchdown passes and receptions, respectively. Patriots have the lead by 3. Plenty of coverage after the game on SportsCenter.
Moss is pretty good, huh?
Moss is pretty good, and Brady loves 4th quarter.
Now another whistle and a delay here. Not sure what's going on. 3rd and 6. And they'll reset the play clock. Jopa's team keep the ball. Will the Aggies get it back?
Well, the A&M fans are coming back to life.
That's for sure. Empty backfield for Morelli. Wide open. Completion to Williams. Gathered it in and gets across the 40. 21 yards, and leading receiver was pretty open there.
Well, and you know what? It's hard to get open when you have 8 and 9 in coverage, right? Well, A&M decides to rush 3. They dropped 8 into coverage, and Doug, like you said earlier, sometimes even against 9, he threads the needle.
You know, he makes some great throws, and this one he has to throw high to give his receiver an opportunity to go up. Williams goes up, gets it, makes the 1st down against a 3-man rush. He had to throw it over a defender's head and drop it in.
4th catch for Williams. Morelli fires complete to Dion Butler. He's near midfield.
Now there's the opposite. That's a rhythm pass where Butler's just running that quick speed out. Good footwork by Morelli. Bang, in rhythm. Easy completion there. So, I mean, he shows you all the throws all the time. He's got nice feet and good footwork, throws the ball.
3rd down conversions, again, continue to be a plus for Penn State. The Aggies have had several times where it's been 3rd and rather long. Penn State, Morelli making the plays.
Now Clark in at quarterback again as Morelli shifts out to the top of the formation as a receiver on 2nd and 3. Clark keeps it. Hammers straight ahead for a 1st down. Chris Harrington on the stop. He's tough to stop when he gets momentum. Maybe a little bit Tim Tebow-like, huh? Clark, 232 pounds.
Well, and what we've noticed now here, 2nd, 4th, 3rd, and 4, they're bringing Clark in, and he's faking it, and he's running up left side, right side.
Pretty good average.
There's going to be a pass off of that. Now, I don't know if there's the reason to keep Morelli in the game is only that potentially you're going to line Morelli up at quarterback with Clark in the game, or both of them back there. Otherwise, maybe you should be putting the receiver in.
the play clock. Does Clark see it? Just get the play off. And this is Evan Royster. Picks up about 4.
Chris, you picked up on a deal this week that was really interesting in your observation. You follow Penn State a long time. And Joe Paterno's ability to have teams ready, to feel the pulse of his football team, and to know the buttons to push, remarkable.
Yeah, that bowl winning percentage, which is for Penn State just second out of Boston College after the Eagles win last night. And on accident that Paterno is so successful. He's very effective at being able to dial in, prepare his team mentally and physically, have them ready to go in bowl games. And second down, Morelli, a short completion to Corliss. To be just short of a first down. Dodge on the stop. He laughed. He said, you know, after 58 years as a coach at Penn State, I had to know something, right? I'd have some feel for what I'm doing out here, right?
He was juggling it this year with finals, backed up into the practice time, brings his guys down early, the guys that are going to play, and really get through some tough practices before everyone gets here with their family.
And like yesterday, he said, normally I wouldn't do anything the day before a game, but I'm going to have a 40-minute workout to make sure my guys know how to line up. I'm not quite sure they're ready to go.
Because he has a lot of young guys playing because of...
On 3rd and 1, and hand it off inside to Evan Royster, and he'll romp to the end zone.
That looked a little too easy there, Craig.
38 yards for the freshman, his 5th rushing touchdown this season. First half all about Kinlaw, and he hobbles off, and they bring in Evan Royster as the future of the running back position for Penn State. They got some talented guys that are also waiting in the wings as red shirts as well.
Well, you know what? You've got an Aggie defense now trying to figure out assignment responsibility for the zone read. If Clark's in there, if Morelli's in there, it's a different type of defense you got to think about. So, you know, the heads are swimming over there. When you have wandering guys on defense, your feet aren't moving.
84-yard touchdown drive by Penn State to answer A&M's field goal. Kelly makes it a 24-17 game. So, Evan Royster in the scoring column. Penn State back on top by 7. And the native of Brooklyn, New York, the College Football Hall of Famer, takes what he sees. Game number 500 for Joe Paterno as head coach at Penn State in front of a record crowd. Largest in Alamo Dome history. They sold some standing room spaces here. 66-166. Big interest with the Aggies involved. And wow, a couple of Michigan fans. Are they supporting the Big Ten here?
Little lost. No, I think this is just kind of a lingering effect. They played here a few years ago, right? And they forgot to go home.
On the way to the Capital One game.
I'll tell you, that salt on the river will do that to you.
It's a fun place to be. They got a few days to get down to Florida for the Wolverines against the Gators.
I got you. It was just a traveling deal, huh?
Talked about Joe Paterno, a native of Brooklyn, New York, and he is very proud of that. Many famous Brooklynites joining Joe Paterno. Barbara Streisand. Michael Jordan, actually born in Brooklyn before he headed to North Carolina. Larry King, Spike Lee, Woody Allen. That's a distinguished group, huh?
How about him talking about the Brooklyn stories of growing up and seeing guys like Babe Ruth play and Ted Williams and Leo DeRocher. Pee Wee Reese is a rookie. And I mean, this guy saw Babe Ruth play.
I know. It blew all of us away. Late in his career.
Look at all those names.
First, he watched Jackie Robinson play a lot. He was an usher at Ebbets Field there for the Brooklyn Dodgers a couple of years in high school. Goodson.
You know, Mary Tyler Moore was from Brooklyn, but she moved to New Rochelle, didn't she? In order to do a TV show?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, now we know that New Rochelle is the home of Ray Rice of Rutgers fame.
Absolutely.
And all that stuff.
You know, one of the great things about covering Penn State in the bowl game is you get to hang out with Joe and you get to hear the stories. He told us an hilarious story about another bowl game when the Lions were underdogs to Miami down there in the Fiesta Bowl, 86 season, that I'd never heard before. I remember the Hurricanes showed up in fatigues down there in Tempe, and Paterno said that there was a gathering where Jimmy Johnson, the Miami coach, had about 7-8 guys, some of the biggest guys on the team, and Joe walked over to one of the Miami players, undid the fatigue pants, and dropped him to the floor.
He pantsed a guy.
He pantsed a guy.
We cracked up. He pantsed a guy. He goes, you know, I wanted to see if the guy was really as, you know, strong as he thought he was.
He said, thankfully, the guy was wearing drawers. In other words, you'd had a real incident.
Oh, man. He'd have
never heard that story about that.
Love Joe.
How about the guy that got pantsed by Paterno? Where's he?
There's only one Joe.
Holy mackerel.
Lions Giants back at top by 7 at the Valero Alamo Bowl. Start of the fourth quarter, Penn State up 24-17. Lions own the clear edge statistically. A couple of turnovers for Penn State, cashed into 10 points by A&M. Lions have produced just 7 points out of the 3 Aggie turnovers. There's a look.
That is a look. Is that Craig?
I like the straw hat.
Important possession for the Aggies to begin this fourth quarter. And the pass batted down. That was Sean Lee blitzing up the middle.
Don't you think, though, that the Aggies, if you'd have told them during this week of preparation that if you could enter the fourth quarter 24-17 in the game, that they'd have been fairly happy with that?
I think so. I think they just want to know that they're coming out and playing a 60-minute football game. They're going to be in it to the end and have an opportunity to win. The problem is they just had a receiver wide open and the ball gets batted. It just seems like they're misfiring just by a hair, but they have the ability to throw the ball and run it. They've proven that already.
3rd and 11. Pierre Brown in motion. They flip it back to Goodson on the near side. He's got some room. Gets a block at the corner. Won't get the first down. Good pursuit. Serrano and Mark Rubin, the 2 safeties, along with A.J. Wallace.
That ball's on the front shoulder. Goodson has an opportunity to get that first down. Instead, he has to adjust to catch the ball, slows him down a step or 2, and he comes up a few yards short.
You know, when you watch Penn State here tonight in person, you get a feel for why they're upset with the record that they had. This team is fast, it's physical, talented.
The skill they have at the receiver position. I'm astounded. You know, the ability to get open, catch the ball, move with the ball after the catch.
Brantley, a low kick. Serrato sidesteps the first man and dives across the 30. Short return. Capital One Bowl Week featuring 20 games in 12 days. ESPN family of networks. Couple of games on New Year's Eve. Kentucky against the depleted Seminoles at 4 o'clock. And then Clemson and Auburn, the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta. Be lots of fans from both teams inside the Georgia Dome. It's at 7:30 Eastern. Capital One Bowl Week Monday, a doubleheader.
Big week. We travel out west to get ready for the Rose Bowl coming up.
Yeah, Illinois, the biggest underdog in the entire bowl season. Certainly happy to be there. We'll see if they can, quit themselves well against a very good USC team.
We had a little taste of what USC looks like when they're healthy. Now they've had a month.
Yeah, Thanksgiving night.
They've had a month to get extremely healthy.
Scary, wasn't it, on defense? This is Evan Royster. Morelli will throw on first down, or try to. Pressure, lobs it down for his tight end, Corliss, incomplete. And reporting that Rodney Kinlaw is okay. It was an injury to the upper part of his right rib cage, but he has not come back in the ball game yet.
Yeah, that's why when you have somebody in the depth of an Evan Royster, you got to have 2 guys who can carry the football and you don't lose anything with it.
Royster trots out, and Darrell Clark, backup quarterback in the game, as well as Morelli, who's shown this a few times. Now it's a little bit of a now Morelli will shift out to the receiver position. This has all been runs by Clark so far with this look. And it is again. Zone read to the left, but only about 3.
I'm with you, Doug, though. Why is Morelli staying in the game? I mean, are we looking for a lateral pass? Are we looking for something?
Well, I've been looking for that, and I kind of realized maybe why. I don't know this for a fact, but Morelli's still calling the play in the huddle. Maybe it's because of the transition in the huddle, and you don't want any mess-ups in the play calling and all that with the backup. I assume Clark can get in the huddle and call plays, but Morelli's still kind of running the show out there, even though the other guy's a quarterback.
It's Chris Harrington down for the Aggies. As we take a look at the Penn State offensive brain trust, they'll face a 3rd and 7 when we come back.
Hi, we're from Nacogdoches, Texas, but we're huge Penn State fans.
Happy holidays to Penn State fans everywhere. We are Penn State!
It's got to be a small alumni club from Nacogdoches, isn't it?
Hey, I'm from Alto. When I was a little boy, my family brother still lives there. It's 20 miles west of Nacogdoches.
Not many Penn State fans growing up.
Never saw anybody from Penn State drive through town.
Well,
how far is that from civilization?
Hey, all right. You come visit us. We'll show you some civilization.
I'm just asking.
I don't know if they can understand Joe and Nacogdoches and that. They can't understand in Brooklyn the Nacogdoches folks.
Nope.
3rd and 7. Morelli drops back. Fires to Williams, short of a first down. Good job by Devin Gray. They were tracking number 2. Lions will have to punt.
Greg did a nice job of sitting back in his zone and just reacting up to the crossing route. Where they were crossing routes underneath, they're usually good against a man coverage rather than a zone coverage.
Williams with 5 catches, but averaging less than 8 yards per catch. Jeremy Boone, excellent night punting. I'd say number 1 in the Big Ten in net punting. And this is another boomer. Roger Holland mishandles it inside the 5, only dropped down near the 1. Mental mistake by the true freshman returner. And A.J. Wallace, joined by Justin King on the coverage. Awful field position for A&M. The second time tonight they'll start the 1.
Right before the snap of the ball, I'm thinking to myself, we haven't had a big play really happen in the special teams tonight. This is a big play. It's a big play for Penn State.
But once you start bobbling that ball, it would have been to his advantage to keep bobbling it, get in the end zone, and just fall in the end zone and take it out to the 20. Not that you're thinking that way, but he bobbles that ball one more time, he's in the end zone, there's the 20-yard line.
Jeremy Boone has been a difference maker tonight, punting very well for Penn State. Now the Aggies in back at their 1. Down by 7. Goodson behind Chris Alexander, the fullback. No throw. McGee incomplete. It was Alexander wide open in the flat, too tall.
Those are big yards coming off your own goal line.
Absolutely, man. Especially first down. Now you're second to 10. You want a
second
first
short,
second 5 would be great.
Off of goal line.
Let me ask you a question. Stephen McGee in high school was a very prolific passer at Burnett, Texas. Got to the state championship game a couple of times. So he's not a runner by instinct. He became a runner because that was asked for him. Next year, Mike Sherman comes in. You would figure certainly the Aggies would go to a more passing offense. Is McGee equipped to run that on his senior year?
He can throw the football, but it has to start from day 1 when you start playing football. You can't just pull it out in week 14.
Empty backfield from the 1. McGee has the speed to get out of trouble. Gets back to the 5.
But you know what? When you think about that, and you ask that question, it really is all about timing, and it takes a whole season to get used to it.
Here's our Valero game track. You saw Evan Royster scamper up the middle. That's the touchdown that put Penn State in front 24-17. The Aggies face a 3rd down.
Don't you agree about the passing?
Absolutely, and I think he can do it. I really believe that he's been in a focused situation where he's running that option stuff and running with the ball a lot, and they don't focus on the passing attack. He has the tools and the ability to do it, but you're right, it's from day 1.
McGee, there's a precise throw and a big conversion, a first down at the 19. E.J. Schenkel in front of Lydell Sargent.
And you know what he'll use to his advantage next year with a more passing, balanced offense is the ability for his legs to give him time to throw the ball and to create opportunities.
Right. When you start to move, when you're a passer, when you start to move, you're buying time. You're staying behind the line of scrimmage and looking for the big play up the field. When you're a runner and you start to move, you're thinking, get 8 yards, get 5 yards, I'm going to bust this, and you take off in those creases. The guys that get a lot of yards passing move around to buy time and get the big play in the passing game.
It's Goodson in motion. He'll take the pitch from McGee. And good pursuit. Lee combining on the stop with Josh Hull. It's a loss of about 4. There is Gerard Johnson, though, guys, a 6'6 freshman. They've been calling him the next Vince Young, another product of the Houston area who's expected to compete with McGee. You would certainly think he'd have the edge and experience and leadership coming next year, but there'll be Aggie fans who want to see what Gerard Johnson can do at quarterback.
He came into a couple of ball games and threw 1 or 2 balls. And he scrambled around for 10 seconds and threw one up for the end zone, ends up a touchdown. It looks like a great play.
Oh, he hasn't had a lot of success. He's only 2 for 7 this year, but going forward with spring practice and all, he's got undeniable talent. McGee flips it to Goodson. Lee tries to chase him down. Instead, he strings the play out. Was
that the safety, the corner, the hero, or the Fritz that ran him out? We got a fundraising idea for all of you out here. Now, when you look, you see the corners and you see linebackers and all this. Well, at Penn State, they don't call it a Will. They call it a Fritz. They don't call the middle linebacker a Mike. They call him a backer. And they don't call the strong safety a strong safety. He's a hero. And they all have Penn State relevance, right? So why not go out and say, hey, look, to fundraising to your alums. Look here, we'll name something after you. We need a new wing over in that athletic place. Give me $1 million and we'll call it the Joe Smith.
Joe Smith is now the free safety position.
Don't think somebody's not contemplating that in this day and age. 3rd and 11. McGee pressured immediately. Flushed. Fired short on the sidelines. Caught. They're signaling a catch by Bennett. So Martellus Bennett collecting his 4th reception and another clutch completion on Tom Bradley's defense, and the Aggies move to chains.
And to continue with that point, the Fritz came from their pizza man back in the 50s. They decided he's such a good guy in the program, we're going to name a position after him.
But that was by number 40, Dan Connor, who is not Mike. He's the backer.
He's just backer.
The backer may need to go get him a Fritz.
Well, somebody else walks in that huddle and hears backer, they will say, which one? No, he's just the backer.
He's the backer.
And that's the middle guy. Yeah. Fritz is the weak side guy. He's the pizza man.
He's not Will.
Kalen Hall was talking about, he remembers Fritz the pizza man back in the 60s at State College. McGee waits for Lane to come open in the middle, and they'll get about 7.
But could you imagine some alum, sitting up there all proud that, yeah, the weak safety position's named after me. Not just sponsoring that scholarship, but it's named, the quarterback position is named after me.
Well, we need big money for that.
That's exactly what we need, is more commercials. Side Judge has been knocked to the ground. Member of this Conference USA crew.
Side Judge is Greg Shields. Up and moving.
Showing that toughness.
But it is an idea, though, guys. I mean, I like the Fritz, the hero, and,
an idea to sell to boosters, the name of the position.
It's memorable.
There's not enough commercialization in this sport.
Hey, there are a lot of athletic departments that need some moolah. Speaking of commercialization.
Yeah, our sponsor, Valero, the game track. Aggies jumped to a 14-0 lead. Pair of Goodson touchdowns. Lions' answer was 17 points. It was a Goodson fumble that set up their 2nd touchdown. Royster, the freshman, in relief, gave them a 24-17 lead. And now the Aggies marched 7 plays. There's a sideline warning this. That's why the side judge went down. He ran into a member of the Penn State staff. Please don't tell me we're going to have another incident with the sideline.
He's reaching for the flag on the ground. Nice effort, buddy. Yeah. I'm laying on the ground. You have to keep the white part open. The first 3 yards on the sideline are for the official to run north and south up and down that sideline. The coaches are in the area beyond that from 3 to 6 yards, and the players are supposed to be all the way back behind the 6-yard marker, but everybody creeps up.
They don't get any yardage. It's just a sideline warning. It's a Evan Royster, running back, touchdown, ran into the side judge over there. Now he's trying to hide. See him back here? McGee with the keeper. First down, cross midfield to the 40.
You noticed that McGee didn't duck that shoulder that he's going to have surgery on. He's got a little separation there. Kind of ran into him.
You know what? He's done a phenomenal job in this drive, keeping it alive with his feet, scrambling, getting some key completions. Now taking off and running there. He had a little shovel pad, a little dump over the middle. Making plays to move. It hasn't been pretty this drive, but he's making plays to move the chains.
That's the band of brothers wristband that McGee came up with. It's to throw on first down. Wanted to take a shot downfield, had nobody open. Now just throw it away. Keep an eye on this Penn State defense in this possession. Remember, the Aggies began back at their 1-yard line, and defensive fatigue for a unit that's very thin, especially up front, to be a factor. It's not easy to play in a dome. Players talk about the fatigue, the lack of oxygen in an indoor place real late in the game.
It is real, especially for the big guys. The big guys have a hard time with it.
I always sweated more inside. I couldn't figure that out. Whether you're playing the Colts or you're playing in the Astrodome.
There's no breeze, right?
I was a quarterback. I never sweat. You stand there, you hand the ball to you, and let you do the work. I don't know. But I just know the big guys were sweating.
I'd look up there and I'd see on the screen 72 degrees. Nice, cool afternoon. I'd be sweating profusely.
McGee will run. Picks up about 7 to the line's 34-yard line. Well, Penn State's defense certainly did wear down in the fourth quarter of that game at Michigan State in the finale.
And you know where you see it? It's on the defensive line, and you see it in the lack of pursuit. That's when you can tell when a defense is gassed.
That's what I'm talking about. The quarterback doesn't have to work that hard all day. Now he's running around while the other guys are tired and making plays. I'll tell you what, a couple plays ago on the scramble, McGee had an opportunity to go deep to carry Frank's running the backside post route. He just couldn't get his feet set to make that throw.
Third and 3. Dixon is the tailback. They fake it to him. McGee fires short. Alexander, the fullback, has a first down to the 27. It is over in the Meadowlands. History for the Patriots as we check back with Reese Davis.
Yes, Chris, perfection, at least the regular season version, attained. The Patriots beat the Giants 38-35. Tom Brady setting a record for touchdown passes in a season. Randy Moss setting a record for touchdown catches in a season. Full highlights, post-game reaction, everything you want to know on SportsCenter after the game.
Reese, thank you. Giants finishing 10-6. On third down in this drive, 3 for 3, and now they're set up at the Penn State 26. Goodson has a crease. Mike Goodson shimmies down near the 10-yard line for a first down. Is that defense wearing down big time now?
The results of this play are because of what happened the play before when the zone read was run and McGee pulled it and went up the middle. Watch the inside. Watch the pursuit that looks in here to the right for McGee. Opens up Goodson.
Everything is sealed off. He gets the outside easily, and then he starts north-south, and he makes the defender miss with quickness and still hitting up the field. Cuts it close, so he has an opportunity to break it.
13th play of the drive that began at the 1-yard line. Goodson bounces it and takes a loss. Good play by Philip Taylor.
Little Barry Sanders jump stop there. A little
4 yards to the right. I had a chance to visit with Goodson this summer. He came over here to passing championship at College Station. Really nice young man. You remember, Chris, this is the guy that had the anterior cruciate ligament injury at the end of last season.
Right.
Worked really hard. Obviously, he's come back and had a strong season.
It's always a concern for a running back. Will he ever get that burst back, right, after an ACL injury? Keandra Smith to the left of McGee, replacing Mike Goodson. McGee keeps it. Leans down inside the 5. Sean Lee on the stop one more time.
Just another great read, decision-making at the quarterback position, even in the run game.
You know, you hear some people say a runner can smell the end zone or the pay dirt, right? You can see an acceleration from those who are used to getting there and that do it with a passion. I mean, you start running a little bit harder, a little bit quicker.
3rd and 3. The Aggies jumped on top here in front of this big de facto home crowd. Penn State scored 17 in a row. A&M tied it. Penn State took the lead, and now the Aggies trying to answer midway 4th quarter. Jaworski Lane, 295-pounder back in the game as McGee spends a timeout. Crucial play here if they have to settle for a field goal. Still a 4-point game.
Maybe getting in that 2 tight end formation in the eye and doing a lot of check-with-me stuff at the line of scrimmage, either running the option in short yardage or in a first down situation off the goal line, and again in a 3rd and short, going to the pass play with the fullback in the flat out of it. So they have a lot of options
and I'll tell you something,
out of that formation once they're over the ball.
It's against their tendency, and is Martellus Bennett, the big athletic tight end. He doesn't get a lot of looks down here, but when you're inside this area here, having a chance on the end zone, he always says he wants to have more fade routes thrown to him.
I mean, he's 6'7", he's athletic, he catches the ball well, and yeah, he wants to be split out. Just throw the ball up to you, let me go get it. Coaches aren't crazy about that. That's kind of low percentage in their mind. But definitely once you get in the red zone in this area of the field, those tall, big tight ends are a nice target.
8.5 minutes to go here. Both teams having to dig deep. A&M trying for a sweet finish to a very disappointing season. Penn State trying to bounce back from their disappointment to finish the season at 8-4. All Aggies early, aided by a Penn State fumble. Lions turn the table. Goodson fumble in the 2nd quarter. Penn State's had a statistical edge. Aggies on 3rd and 3. There is Bennett. Alexander picking his way down inside the 2. Very close to a 1st and goal. I think he's just a little bit short. Here's how A&M took the lead. If you're just joining us here on the option, there's Mike Goodson. A little bit of a tricky formation.
No right tackle. You only had a right guard unbalanced to the left. They took advantage of Penn State there, but the Nittany Lions made some adjustments. They came roaring back.
Penn State scored its touchdown. First touchdown on a 4th down completion. Morelli going to the end zone to Norwood. 4th and inches. 16th play of the drive. It began at the 1. And McGee slips down. Penn State's defense was ready for that.
I thought when you look at the line, the defensive line of Penn State, and the pursuit that they had, the balance that they had, McGee couldn't cut back. Pitch was taken away.
He knew he couldn't run it. Sean Lee had him covered, wanted to pitch the ball, realized the pitch wasn't there, tried to put the brakes on and goes to the ground.
That's well-coached defense. Lions make a stop. Get it back up 7.
ESPN College Football, the Valero Alamo Bowl, is brought to you by Valero, the all-American gasoline all across America.
So on 4th down, the Aggies don't go with the 295-pound Jaworski Lane. They try to run the option, and McGee slipping down. So the marathon drive, 16 plays, from their own 1 to the Lions' 1, produces nothing.
That's frustration.
And I think it really tells you right there how much respect A&M has for Penn State's defensive line on the inside, how powerful they are, that the Aggies chose to try the perimeter.
And Rodney Kinlaw is back in the ballgame. And has it. And has a 1st down. Kinlaw had a rib problem, went out. Aaron reporting he had an extra pad put on. He's back in the game. That's his 6th run over 10 yards for the senior, his final game as a Lion.
Well, we saw Rodney Kinlaw early on show us great acceleration. That play right there in the hole to jitterbug, start and stop and go was unbelievable. And I think that really caused a lot of doubt on this Aggie defense. They had to start changing adjustments on their angles of attack.
This Penn State O-line's handling them up front, and there's some gaping holes.
Kinlaw 7 yards per carry. Has it again, and hammers running right over a defender for another first down over the 30. Keith Brown, the corner, got trucked. Dvorsky Lane's been very frustrated since he did not get the ball on that 4th down. He was distraught. Left for the running backs were sitting on the bench, went down by himself. Aaron, what can you add?
I can add the fact that about 3 teammates, Chris, had to pull him back. He just walked away from his entire offense just to be by himself. A couple of guys just said, come on, and he said no. For a minute, I thought the guy was going to take off his jersey. He was so ticked off.
You can't do that as a player. You know what? This is a team game. Coaches have decisions to make. They have a plan.
And the time he did run it in short yardage, he got stuffed.
He got stuffed. A couple times we've seen him get stuffed.
This is Kinlaw stuffed. Pads popping after about a 3-yard gain. Misi Tupe on the stop.
I mean, on the surface, it makes sense. You know, you got your big back, short yardage. We should hammer the football. But what's working for you?
He has tears there coming down on his right cheeks. I mean, the guy has a passion. He has a love for it. He wants it. You know, obviously, it means a lot. You love that.
You know, and then talking to him, he's a soft-spoken, shy guy, really.
Yeah.
You know, so that's out of character for him to get that upset, but it's the passion.
Yeah.
You know, he just wants to win.
He wants to help. He thinks he would have gotten that yard.
Yeah, I understand. I totally understand.
But I agree, you can't walk away from the teammates and check out mentally. There's a lot of time to go. Evan Royster back at tailback for the Lions on 2nd down. Morelli fires near side, and it's caught by Butler. Short gain. Brown on the stop. It'll be 3rd and short. It's about a yard.
Well-fought football game. We thought it would be a physical game. We thought that these two teams would come in and show a lot of pride from the tradition that they have at their institutions. For the Aggies, really, hey, they're auditioning. Mike Sherman's watching this game.
He's going to analyze this film when he gets in. He's got to make decisions on players for next year, who's going to have opportunities, who he can trust and depend on.
Royster can't quite get the corner. He's tracked down by Vaughn Miller, the backup defensive end. But plenty of coverage of the Patriots-Giants postgame coming up on SportsCenter. Patriots coming back to beat the Giants, close out a 16-0 regular season. With Neuheisel hire at UCLA, back at his alma mater. And top 10 upsets in college basketball.
Great hire by UCLA. Congratulations, Rick Neuheisel. I've spoken to him quite a bit here over the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think Rick is going to be an outstanding hire. Maybe the best move of the offseason here with these coaches.
Seemed pretty obvious that they had waited a long time to officially name him. But he seemed the obvious choice. Kinlaw tripped up.
Not as much success running the ball to the left, huh?
No. But, you know, Neuheisel's a guy, now he's got 3 years of pro football in his back pocket. You know, to go, he's dynamic. I mean, he's going to go out to UCLA and he will challenge Pete Carroll's enthusiasm and confidence in recruiting.
Right. He's got to sell the fact that UCLA can compete, you know, with USC for championships.
Right.
But he's been a very effective, aggressive recruiter wherever he's been.
Who isn't? Who's not an aggressive recruiter that's out there recruiting big-time players?
3rd and 6. Aggies show pressure, bring it off the corner. Morelli. And the receiver falls down. Throw was on the outside. Norwood couldn't get back to it. And a little pressure on Morelli forces him to get rid of it quick.
I thought A&M lined up offside.
In the neutral zone, weren't they?
For sure.
Yeah. Got away with one there.
Getting away with it.
You know what, though? Hey, clock stops. Aggies, 2 timeouts. Chris, you made the point. Jaworski's got to get back in this game mentally, right? You know, hey, his ball club's touchdown down. That's it.
You know, it may come down to him carrying the ball on a 4th and 1 somewhere. It may come down to him having to make a play to keep a drive alive to tie this thing up.
Low snap collected by Jeremy Boone. Again, he's knocked down with no flag. He's had a hard time selling that to the official tonight. This one bounds into the end zone. Little acting there. Conference USA official unconvinced. Aggies 80 yards away, down 7, 3:59 to play. A&M has the football after the punt by Jeremy Boone, who had a tough time selling this to an official. This looks like enough contact to draw a flag most of the time. E.J. Schenkel, and for the Aggies, hits him up pretty high.
I say he's bumped pretty good there. The fact he's off balance makes it exaggerated, but he was...
Do you think Jopa's saying, look, I've coached 500 games, and you can't tell me that's not roughing it?
Well, in 499 of them, that's roughing.
Yeah, first time.
Well, running into anyway, it was 4th and 6. It would have needed to be the 15-yarder to give him the first down. McGee, shovel pass, Goodson. Weaves his way for about 10 in traffic.
I love McGee's awareness. Love his awareness, moving around. I think Goodson's got to learn to go a little more north and south and quit trying to break everyone for big yards.
Speaking of awareness, how about Jopa? There have been a few things happen in his time, right, as a coach?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would say there have been a few presidents, and the Dow's made a little bit of a climb.
The price of a gallon of gas has gone up $2.70 since '66. This is Goodson shimmying across the 40, a first down. This Penn State defense trying to dig deep, guys. They look to be worn out. Aggies have been effective moving the ball.
And listening to Joe talk to us, he inspires me to want to be a coach and have that game on Saturday to look forward to and have, as he would say, his squad and get ready. I love the way he thinks, his approach, the way he builds character in his players. And maybe I'm as old school as he is. Yeah. I don't know.
No, he's good for college football. College football will miss Joe Paterno if he ever decides to leave the game.
McGee on first down fires to Goodson. Goodson trying to make a man miss and struggles to get out of bounds. Doesn't. Clock is still running. Maurice Evans on the stop.
You know, at some point, Martellus Bennett has a linebacker, Dan Connor, on him. He's got a height advantage there. Singled up over there. You need a big play. You know, put it up tall where you got a chance down the field.
I just feel like McGee is going to make this drive happen, using his legs, running for first down, buying time, whatever it takes. You know, the bottom line is getting it into the end zone, though. He's got to finish it off.
Blitz up the middle. And there's a flag, a pair of them as McGee rolls out. That was an almost certain holding penalty as McGee was flushed out. Lions brought pressure up the middle.
Boy, and those are drive killers. Now you're out of down and distance. Now, like you said, Craig, you need a big play to help you convert.
Holding. 76, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Michael Schumard, guard starting in place of the injured Chris Yoder, the sophomore, called for holding. 2nd and 20 now.
Kerry Franks, number 8. Martellus Bennett, wide receiver, tied in. I mean, one of these players has to step up and make a big play.
Receivers have done almost nothing for A&M all night. Part of the story of their season. It'll be 3rd and long. Maurice Evans, leading sacker for the Lions. 12 and a half on the season. Pretty pressure. They haven't got to McGee a lot. Only 1 sack for Penn State. They came in number 2 in the country in that department, but they pressured McGee a lot of hurries.
And all of his scrambles and his rolls when he leaves the pocket have been to the right. Nothing has moved to the left.
Yeah, he looks comfortable moving to the right. The ball ends up staying on the right hash the whole day, and you're running into the short side of the field. He had nothing downfield there after the scramble. It's a good decision to throw it away. They have to get something by design, though. Stick it up a seam or lay it up for grabs.
Lane in, 4 receivers on 3rd and 20. Yee pressured, throws it on the hop to Lane. A little incomplete. That was close to being a lateral. McGee was pressured by Dave Corona. 4th and 20.
Well, you only have 2 timeouts and 2 minutes to go. 4th and 20. You could get the ball back if you punt.
That was just desperation. Very nearly a lateral, though.
He's just trying to get it out of his hand and make a play in the situation to get you in a down and distance that was makeable.
And we'll punt it and try to use their timeouts to get one last crack with a few seconds to go. Brantley's had a good night, averaging 53 yards a punt. And this is a rocket. Serrano lets it bounce into the end zone. So Penn State, after the 67-yard punt, will take over at the 20-yard line. 2:01 to chew up and send Paterno home a winner in game number 500. Trying to give him his 23rd bowl win. That is more than all but about, 6 or 7 schools in college football. His wins alone. Contemplate that. If you were a school, he'd be in the top 10.
Just enjoy being in his presence. Absolutely. It's amazing what he has done. And he still has that fire and that drive. And although it's his 500th game, he knows the importance of these bowl games to these kids. This particular game, these kids only have so many bowl games.
Even the Aggie coaches, they went to dinner a couple of nights ago together as staffs. I mean, they enjoyed it. Everybody wants to be around Joe Paterno.
Evan Royster, the freshman, trying to protect the football, picks up about 8. Marquise Carpenter on the stop. Well, Darnell gave a glowing speech to Joe, didn't he? He said all the great things, how he was a mentor, he admired him, and then at the end he said, but we're going to kick your rear end. Yeah. And Joe laughed, loved it. Yeah. Darnell said.
Loved it. Joe Paterno's got a great sense of humor. You know, coaches love him, players love him. To me, the testimony of whether or not the guy can still handle it is not just the wins, but the fact that so many young players connect and identify with him still. They want to go play for Joe Paterno.
And Joe's induction ceremony at the class of 2007 College Football Hall of Fame in Marriott Marquis, the Waldorf Astoria in New York, joining Doug Flutie there. Got a stirring, emotional speech from Joe.
Flutie, we made Flutie at Penn State, for crying out. Flutie came in there as a freshman. They stuck him in the game because the game was over, and he starts throwing loosey-goosey, throwing the ball all over the place, ends up with a couple hundred yards. Next year, what'd you throw, 500 yards against us? But we beat you 51 to something, right?
Set me up, boy. He's something else. And he's got, the memory is there. He remembered all of those games.
That's a big first down carry. Maybe this Aggie defense just kind of unable to summon enough to get a stop here. Now it's costly after they burn that timeout. Now the Lions can move the chains. They should be able to bleed this clock out. That was a heck of a speech that Joe made, though. You said you're ready to go out and play a football game in the middle of Park Avenue.
Fired up, banging the podium and going after it. And all of the guys that had gotten inducted, there were some young guys that got awards too. We're jumping up. Let's put the pads on and take them on. Let's go. Let's play. You were ready. You were fired up. You were ready to roll.
He still does that. Get a meeting with him. You sit around. He really took the time with us this week and was very gracious in his time. Everybody wants Joe's time, but he took the time for us to really get the feel for where he was with his team, where he is in his life.
Joe's got his 5 children and 16 grandchildren here with him in San Antonio, and he's got a pretty good team coming back next year. They lose Anthony Morelli, Dan Connor, another senior, Justin King, a junior that may consider his options, but basically, other than those guys, the entire team back. And Jay Paterno promising they'll have a little different look on offense next year. Perhaps Darrell Clark as a running quarterback.
We stayed at the Penn State team hotel. That's where we lounged around this week. Every time I got on the elevator, there was a Paterno kid,
there were little Paternos all over the place.
It was hard to avoid it, yes. Sue, Joe's wife, holding court. Joe knew numerology. Of course, arrived there in 1950 as an assistant. And in that time, 817 head coaching changes, including Rick Neuheisel today. 16 grandchildren. Donated $4 million to the library and only missed 3 games in that time.
You know, his salary came out of what, $500,000, $550,000?
About $550,000.
Yeah, that was shocking to his kids. Remember that he was offered the opportunity to go to the Patriots back in 1973. The Sullivan family wanted to make Paterno the highest paid coach in history, pro or college, and they were going to give him guys. This is unbelievable. As we see Royster fall forward, an 8% share of the New England Patriots to get him to leave Penn State to coach that team.
And $1 million
right now.
And $1 million back then.
Right, but you know what?
8% today.
What's the team worth? $1 billion?
Got to be.
Well, that's a pretty good chunk of money. You're talking about $80 million. But he decided to stay at Penn State. He turned down a later offer to coach New England in the early 80s.
Now, the fuzzy math category, if he's making $500,000, but he's giving $4 million plus to the school.
Other sources.
Somewhere, like my fuzzy math.
Other sources.
Somewhere there's something else coming in that household.
Here's 3rd and 2. Last chance for the Aggies, and they do get the stop. And we'll see. It'll be 4th down.
Better hurry up and spot that ball. Or
we'll see when they start the play clock. If it goes inside of 25, they will not have to snap it again. And that's it. That's it. They will not have to snap it again. And Joe Paterno wins his 23rd bowl game at Penn State and wins his 500th game overall as head coach of the Nittany Lions. He's one behind Bobby Bowden in the all-time win category now. They had to earn it, though.
Congratulations to Coach Paterno, Penn State. Congratulations to the Texas Aggies, Gary Darnell and his staff for the integrity and character they showed in keeping the ship floating.
So Mike Sherman will take over next year and start a new era in Aggie football as the Lions will look to bigger things in 2008 with the nucleus of their team coming back. Score one for the Big Ten, 24-17 over the Big 12. A disappointing night for Jaworski Lane. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For our Thursday night crew, for Craig, for Doug, for Aaron, I'm Chris Fowler. So long. SportsCenter coming up right now.